boys. America.
What's up, freedom fighters? Welcome to America and Trash Taste, baby. I'm Freedom Fighter 1 with Freedom Fighter 2
This is not even the right accent for where we're at. We're in LA. We're in LA, Joey.
Oh my fucking god, guys! Welcome back to Trash Taste, the best show on the fucking internet.
This ain't my man's, guys. This is not our man's right now.
What? Come on, you are. I am your man.
Not when you do that.
What the fuck?
Not when you do that.
I had to set the scene, you know, because we're once again in a different place.
Yeah.
Entirely. We're not in the UK anymore. We're in the United States of America now.
Like you truly had like the Karen accent. You're truly like now cosplaying your Karen form, aren't you?
Call the manager right now. I need to speak with her. Yeah. But yeah, we're in LA in this beautiful Airbnb.
Yes.
The most grandiose our set has ever looked. These couches are like...
Is it?
These couches are pretty fucking nice.
Okay, these couches are comfy. A bit too comfortable because I'm just like sinking back in.
I'm definitely sinking back in.
I gotta like fucking talk and be aware, and I'm just like, Joe, you
I'm thinking about like I have to hold my mic because it just keeps moving. So I have to do that.
Every podcaster ever fucks with their mic.
Exactly.
God, if I go 1 second without touching my mic on a podcast,
I'll just double fist it like Ladybeard did.
Cry.
Yeah, double clutch it like Ladybeard did. But yeah, we've made it to Los Angeles.
And we've somehow been able to build a studio despite a lot of issues.
Oh, we're gonna get into that very quickly. Yeah. I'm sure the rounds have already been made of the actual situation.
Yeah. The rounds have already been made.
The rounds have already been made. People online,
if you've been on Reddit, maybe you're aware of this.
Yeah.
If not, which a big portion of the audience isn't.
Hey, follow the subreddit.
Yeah. So our baggage containing, Meilyne said it was $30,000 worth of equipment. It's actually, I think, closer to $50,000.
Yeah, it's close to 50.
Yeah, closer to $50,000 worth of filming equipment. All our mics, all our cameras were lost on the way here, and at this moment, we still don't know where they are.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So we had to like scramble to get all of this equipment so that we can actually film some episodes, and you know, especially because we're going to get guests on eventually as well.
Yeah.
From next episode. Yeah. So it's just stressful as shit.
This was not the start that we wanted. I'm so thankful that we scheduled in like 2, 3, 3 days of just like no guests, no filming anything.
Yeah.
Because if we thought that we were going to hit the ground running, we would have been fucked.
Yeah. Like a guest literally arrives and it's like, so where's the set? And we're like, yeah, about that?
Yeah.
Doesn't exist yet.
Do you want to explain your process of going to the airport?
Yeah.
What happens?
So I was in charge of bringing all of the equipment to America because these boys flew a bit early. So I get to Heathrow Airport, Terminal 2. And I already alarm bells were ringing because I get there and I want to check in and I can't check in. And I hear one of the operators say, "Oh no, we can't check anyone in right now because there is a queue downstairs of about 200 bags and no one can check in right now." So I'm like, that's pretty bad. That's like a bad omen right there.
Yeah, that's worrying.
Yeah, so I arrive, 2 hours before my flight, as like that's what they recommend. So I have to wait an hour just to check in my bags. Right? And that's true for like pretty much everyone on the plane. Oh, wow. So I check in my bags an hour before our flight. And then I check in my normal bags, and then we have 2 massive Pelican cases containing all of our filming equipment.
Yep.
And they look at that and they're like, "We can't check that in here. You're gonna have to go to the oversized luggage section." I'm like, oh no, this is
scary already.
I'm like, my spidey senses were tingling.
Yeah.
I was like, something is going to go wrong. And so I bring over the 2 Pelican cases over to the oversized luggage place. And so there's an operator there. And you could tell, like, this operator is just fucking done. He does not, he does not give a shit.
Dealing with this for a few days.
Yeah. He does not give a shit at all, right? And then he looks at the Pelican cases and he's like, "All right, just put them on the conveyor belt, and I'll get it through the system." And then I put it on the conveyor belt. He presses a button to open a shutter to get it through the airport. The shutter doesn't open, and he presses it again. Doesn't open, and I'm like, okay, there's something weird's going on here. Is this malfunction or something? And he sits there. He sits down and he sits there for 5 minutes, doing nothing. doing doing nothing, right?
Okay.
He just sits there for 5 minutes, and I
Don't
like.
even like pretend to work. He's
Yeah, he just
nothing.
doesn't even pretend to work. He just sits down and like plays on his phone. And then like while I'm waiting, a queue starts to form behind me. First it's like one person, then it's two people, then it's three people. And like it really starts to build up.
Right.
And so after about 10 minutes of just sitting down doing nothing, the guy just like tries to press it again, doesn't work. And then he finally tries to phone someone. He tries to do something about it. And so he phones the operator in charge of whoever is in charge of the baggage. And he says, oh, the shutter won't open. And then they say, yeah, we're not letting any bags in right now because we are just completely full. Like we cannot take any more bags into our system. Right. And so I was waiting for about like 20 minutes. And so, you know, I was waiting in this queue for about 20 minutes before he presses the button and the shutter finally opens. And like, great, the fucking bags finally went through. And I remember by the time my bags went through, it was half an hour before my flight. And like, I remember thinking, finally the shutter's open, bag goes through, and then the shutter closed. And there was just this moment of, I'm never going to see them again, am I? Like I had a feeling.
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah. I had like a fucking vision. It closed, and I'm just like, I was like, I have a bad feeling about this. Fucking Obi-Wan. And I remember texting the group being like, guys, not to be alarmed, but I'm pretty sure there's a good chance that maybe we won't get to see our equipment. But I was like hoping out of hope. Yeah. And so, you know, I check in, we go through. I flew Aer Lingus. So the Aer Lingus flight goes from it goes from Heathrow to Dublin, and then Dublin to America, LAX. And so the flight from Heathrow to Dublin was actually on time. Which I think that's the reason our bags didn't get delivered, because it was on time. And we woke up the next day and we found out that there's an image on screen with all of the bags that are like stuck in Heathrow Terminal 2 now. It's like a fucking sea of bags, right? Our bag is somewhere in there at this point. But then after that, I check into my second flight to go to America. And we all check in. I'm sitting in my seat. And then it's, you know where you have some of those flights where for some reason the plane just doesn't move? Right. So we were sitting there for like a full-on hour, right? So like we were sitting there for a full-on hour trying to figure out what's going on, you know? Are we actually going to take off? And then after an hour, like the operator comes in and was like, guys, I know you've been waiting a while. That's because there's been a massive queue on the runway right now. So we're going to be a bit delayed. And I'm going to be real with you. It's looking like that we're going to be sitting here for another 2 hours. So, and you know when like bad news gets announced and you just feel the air just drop. Yeah. Like there was like that fucking groan noise that just distributed throughout the entire fucking plane, right? And everyone's just like, what the fuck? So we all start getting out our phones and everything like that. And you know, I was thankful because I got to catch up with fucking Spy Family. You know, that's what I did with my extra 2 hours on the tarmac. But after,
could be worse.
Could be worse. But like after being delayed for 3 hours on the tarmac, finally I get to go to LAX. You know, fucking brilliant. I finally get to go on my flight to America. The flight itself was very, very pleasant. You know, you know, we had some very good. What are they called? Air stewardesses there, you know.
Service.
Yeah, service. We had very good service. The flight itself was great, but then the nightmare continued when I landed in LAX.
Right.
And
I mean, that's just any landing in LAX.
Yeah.
The nightmare continues.
Yeah. And so I get down and I thought that I had saved time because if you fly from Dublin to America, we have pre-clearance. So we don't, like, if you fly from Dublin, you don't actually need to go through immigration in America.
That's really fucking good.
Yeah, you can go through immigration in Dublin.
Yeah.
So it's treated as a domestic flight. So I'm like, great. I could just pick my bags and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah.
And so I walk for what feels like 20 minutes to get to my baggage collection, right?
Really we all had to do that.
Yeah. And by the time I get there, our bags aren't even on the carousel because they are so busy that they are still like the people from the previous flight are still getting their bags from this carousel because there's only one carousel in the domestic terminal.
Yeah.
So we like people from Hawaii were still like, which was the flight before, were still waiting for their bags to come out.
Oh, right.
So we couldn't get our bags before the passengers from Hawaii could completely get their bags out. So I was waiting for about an hour before we even got any bags from our flights to come out. And then after their bags finished getting collected, finally our bags come out. And it's like a drip feed. I don't know how it was such a slow drip feed. Were they like fucking cycling it over like one bag at a time?
Because they're like dragging it over the whole journey you did.
Yeah. So it was coming out like fucking 5 bags at a time. Like so by the time like I got some of my bags out, I had to wait another like 20-30 minutes. And then of course I was waiting for my equipment bags. And then I waited a little longer. And they were like, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The Aer Lingus bag flights, the Aer Lingus flight bags are now finished. So if you have any bags to collect, we've collected it in a corner. And I was just like, fuck. I did not see the bags that I had. You know, I would rather have lost my clothes than lose the $50,000 of equitment.
Yeah.
And so I go to this corner and there's a line of about 30 people being like, where the fuck is my bag? And so after that, I have to queue again with these 20-30 people all trying to like wave their fucking tickets to pick a form up. And it was like my first reminder about, you know, what I can experience here in terms of customer service, because I'm used to Japanese customer service.
With Japanese customer service.
I am very blessed with Japanese customer service, where they felt like, you know, they will do anything they can to help you, or at least they will like at least pretend to give a shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like at LAX, like I've had 2 instances now where there is not even any pretending to give a shit about the customer at all. If anything, I felt guilty for having to trouble them for an issue with the fucking airport, you know? So I had to like fucking fight my way through to like give them the ticket, and this guy punching my numbers in to this lost and found form just could not give a shit. He didn't give a shit so much that it ended up, we found out later, that he'd punched in the wrong numbers to this form. And so it was like this experience of everything that could go wrong with a flight did go wrong. And it turned a already long travel time from England to America and added around 5 to 6 hours on top of that as well.
I'm so sorry you had to go through that, man.
Just ain't it.
Yeah, there's like this ain't it. And that's what that at this moment in time, that's all we know about what's happened to our bags. I think it's still in Heathrow, if I'm gonna guess.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can get our equipment back.
Well, like what happens if they're like, oh, by the way, we delivered it to LAX like a month later, and I'm like, well, we're not in LAX anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fuck is happening.
Yeah.
It's just frustrating. It's like I wish they would tell you anything.
Yeah.
I think it's the fact that the airline leaves you completely in the dark and doesn't tell you, hey, it's here. It hasn't been shipped out yet because it's all backed up.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, I could somewhat understand that, but when they just fucking tell you nothing, they're like, oh, no, it's in LAX.
Yeah.
And like they, because Meilyne was calling them up and being very angry.
Yeah.
Good Meilyne.
Good Meilyne.
They told Meilyne that like, hey, yeah, the bags have been at LAX since June 16th.
Yeah.
And then he goes to LAX again to try and get them.
And so they told us that the bags had been delivered to LAX. So I was just like, I want to go there physically to pick them up, right? Because we got $50,000 of equipment. I don't want to risk wasting any more time. So I drive to LAX, and of course, driving to LAX is a fucking nightmare in LA because you have to like fucking
because you have to drive in LA.
Yeah. So it takes us about 40 minutes to get to LAX. And then I go to the section where they told me to pick the bags up. Yeah. And I had my second experience with LAX customer service, which was I tried to explain that I have tickets to pick up my bags. And so the woman in charge just goes, no, we don't have any bags from Aer Lingus right now. And that's all she says. And then she goes away. She doesn't even give me time to like explain my situation. She just fucks off. And I'm like, what do I do? So like I phone up Meilyne to be like, can I get like the exact details of everything our airline said to you, so I can explain the situation? And so this lady goes off, and I can see her in eyesight. She goes off to the other side of the room and starts like picking up and messing around with some bags. And so I talked to like one of the security guards there to be like, can I call that lady over, please? Because I think she's in charge of like the baggage system here. And she literally like picks out her phone and phones the lady. I can see the lady pick up her phone and answer it. and then she's like, okay, and then hangs up. And then she continues messing around with the bags. I can see her in eyesight. I see her.
You can literally just run up to her.
Yeah. And so after 20 minutes of dicking around over there, I don't know what she's doing. She reluctantly comes back, looks at me, and I can see like the disappointment in her face. Be like, why the fuck are you calling me again? Yeah. Right? And so I'm like trying to explain. I just wanted to get more information and explain more of the situation about what I've been told and what the situation is. So I explain everything that Meilyne has explained to me. I give her the tickets, and she does a fucking eye roll and just like she literally does that. And I'm like, why am I being made to feel guilty for trying to solve a situation with
that
my
you
bags?
guys created?
Yeah. It's just it made like a stressful situation like 10 times more stressful because like, with customer service, I don't mind like if you are not like fucking Japanese level, yes, King, we'll do anything we want for you. What do you need? I'll explain everything, but at least don't make the customer feel guilty about bringing up
needing a service.
Needing a service. It just made me like, she made me feel guilty for even like trying to explain the situation and trying to find out more information. After driving there for 40 minutes, and she goes in, she checks the details on the fucking luggage tag and everything, and then she comes back and she's just like, there is no bags here. Your bags have not been delivered. I don't know what the airline have told you. They've pretty much just said something false, because we've had no bags from that airline at all. And that almost broke me. Because that almost broke me, right? Because after driving there for 40 minutes, not getting my bags, after being delayed for after wasting 5 hours of my time the day before, I now had to drive back from LAX to our studio. And for some reason, God just hated me on that day, because the traffic back was like way worse than the traffic there. So it took twice the amount of time to drive back. And it was just...
you couldn't get a dump, dude.
Oh man, that drove my monk experience to its limit, because I was like up to here. I was about to fucking explode.
Dude, I'm surprised you didn't explode. I think anyone else would have fucking exploded long before that.
Yeah, I
would have certainly exploded.
Internally, I was screaming, because I don't want to scream at I don't want to be like the Karen to like the customer service manager, but like it just
it's situations like that where I think it's almost a necessity to be a Karen.
Well, no, because I didn't want to bring out my frustration on the person, right? But also that person was, I felt, bringing out her frustrations on me, the customer, with maybe previous customers she's had, and I'm just like, it was just awful. It was an awful experience. There's no silver lining in this. It was just an awful experience, and it's still not resolved. So it wasn't the best first experience touching down in America, but
welcome to America.
Welcome to America, right?
What do you mean you didn't tip your bag handler at the airport? Fuck. How dare you not give him a 20% tip on his salary to get your bag delivered?
Can we fucking talk about that? Because that's one frustration I've had since getting here, right? So it's like, obviously because we had lost our shit, right? And it still hasn't been resolved. We had to figure out ways to get the equipment, right? So it's like we're calling up camera rental places, we're calling up light rental places, all that kind of stuff. And then we realized, there's no mic stands, right? Yeah. Because we usually attach it to a table, right? But wait, that's not going to work with, the current set we're in right now. So we're like, all right, fuck, we got to buy some mic stands. So I'm like, all right, I'll just get some on Amazon. Go on to Amazon, blah, blah, blah. And I think, again, this is where we're blessed with Amazon Japan standards, which is, it is very rare to get something on Amazon, no matter how small or large, how cheap or expensive it is. And usually 99 times out of 100, you'll get it the next day.
Yeah,
right?
next day delivery.
Next day delivery. That's just like normal in Japan.
Yeah.
So I thought it would be the same here.
Yeah.
They do have next day delivery. If you would like to pay 500% more for shipping.
Yeah.
And like I looked at it and I was like, hold on, how does that work? So I get free shipping if it comes on like 3 days from now.
Yeah.
But if I want it tomorrow, I basically have to tip Amazon $10, $15 more to get it the next day.
Yeah, it's about $10, $15 delivery if you want to get your stuff the next day.
Yeah.
Which we're obviously blessed with Amazon UK, Amazon Japan, which it comes free with Prime. You get next day delivery.
Yeah.
And like, I would understand maybe if it was kind of like. One thing that surprised me, because I thought, fucking Amazon started in California, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
you think
can we fact check that at least? Because
Did Amazon start in California?
No, it's Seattle.
Is it Seattle?
It's
okay.
Seattle.
Okay. So
Well, it's
I'm
American.
done. Yeah. Okay.
Just fine.
Ignore that. That's just I made it the fuck up moment.
Yeah.
Seattle.
Okay,
Okay,
Seattle.
Seattle.
But I would think that with LA being one of the fucking major cities in America, right? Because like you get perks if you order from say London in the UK. I thought with LA, with this being like, Hollywood and needing a lot of equipment, a lot of shipment and everything like that, I thought that they would have a service that is more convenient. And I was very surprised to see that you can't get the same level of convenience just by being in LA.
You literally have to pay to win.
I mean, it's hard, right? Like, there's a lot of like socio-economic factors involved, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, already, right? Like next day shipping. You don't really need next day shipping. Like how often do you need next day shipping?
All the time.
No, never. Normally.
No,
Like,
I do because I usually when I have to buy something on Amazon, it's when I need it urgently.
Yeah.
And I don't have enough time to go to the shops to get it. Or perhaps it's something that I can't get.
Like an example. Can you give me an example?
Well, say for example, like camera equipment in Japan, right? It's
Yeah.
like
Right.
it's very rare that
Yeah.
you can go to a big enough like Yodobashi or big camera that has the exact specific
That's
things
true.
you need.
Yeah.
Or sometimes there are some brands, for example, that you can't easily access in Japanese sites.
But like I'd say it's very rare that you need 100%. You need this next day. Like I bet 90% of shit you order on Amazon, you did not need that next day.
well, I'm sure, yeah,
Right,
but
right.
the convenience
So-
is there, right?
Yeah, it's there. It's there. I think it's good to have that convenience. But I think, especially in America, because it's just like so inefficient, and like everything is delivered by roads. Like, have you seen the videos of like the freight trains that deliver stuff in like California?
Yeah.
That get, like, robbed
I have
and
not.
fucking breaking open.
Yeah,
They get
yeah.
robbed all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just think because the infrastructure just isn't there, and then the next day delivery that they do is almost like it like fucks up the people who have to actually deliver it because they have to do these insane routes to
Right.
try and deliver this, and they're pissing in bottles and shit.
Yeah.
So a part of me is like, yeah, I'd love next day delivery, but I feel like just in America, it just doesn't. It's not
Feasible?
It's not feasible, and if you are doing it, something bad is happening
Yeah.
to someone who is.
Yeah, I guess this is definitely like me being privileged with.
It's definitely us.
It's definitely a privilege
I just wanted to talk about
Yeah.
it because I'm like,
Yeah.
it's a complicated thing, and like,
Yeah.
I mean,
There's a bigger underlying issue
yeah.
to it,
Japan, for some reason, people don't give a fuck about being worked like crazy for like 9 hours and being super efficient.
But
I don't know why.
In the UK, you get next day delivery as well.
You do, but in London, it seems like it would make way more sense to have that work in London. But like in Wales, you don't have that. Like,
Oh, you don't?
Not really. Like I lived right next to the Amazon warehouse in Swansea, and it was never next day delivery.
Really?
Even though I lived next to the warehouse,
Right.
for the whole area. It's just, I don't know. London, it makes more sense. It's possible. There's a lot more like couriers.
Is it
available.
maybe like
Yeah.
a sense of urgency towards like fulfilling customer like requests maybe? Because like I assume in Wales, not a lot of people are like ordering from Amazon, right?
I don't
Surely,
know,
surely
there's
in
a lot,
Cardiff.
there's a lot.
Surely in Cardiff, right?
Maybe in Cardiff there
Yeah.
was. But,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
I think all the Cardiff orders are being fulfilled by the Swansea.
Yeah,
centre.
yeah,
Right,
yeah,
so
right.
It's about an hour drive.
Yeah, because like I guess that's what I thought. Where I would understand if you lived like in the fucking boonies, like in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not going to get next day delivery.
Right.
But like if you live in a major
this is
city,
LA.
Yeah, this is LA.
I mean,
know?
you can get it, but like it's only certain items, right? Because it's got to be fulfilled by Amazon, which means it's in their warehouse already. already, and then they get one of their couriers to come and get it, and that makes more sense. But I don't know, the whole fucking system here is weird, and even in Europe, it's like not as good as Japan. Japan works, but Japan's had like an amazing shipping network for like forever.
Yeah,
like they've like
just
been
gotta figure
so
it
on
out.
top of everything. Like
Yeah.
that's what they care about.
Yeah.
That's like their like.
and not a single tip was necessary.
Yeah, because people here, they're like, bro, we got like so many issues, like guns, and then Japan's like, if the fucking package doesn't fucking turn up when I tell it to, I'm not voting for you.
Yeah.
Like that's like
Legit.
That's what they give a fuck about.
Man, we've only been here like a few days, and like within that few days, we've just like we can feel like an entire complaining about America, like
This is just the complaining about America episode.
Yeah.
Because it's just this endless fucking stream.
Because like
of
America
things.
is like an endless loop of like dichotomies. Like, okay, this big company does bad thing, but it's like the reason why it's doing bad thing is because people don't want to do anything else, and it's just fucking cycle.
Because like I get it to a point why I've experienced such bad customer service. It's because they have no fucking incentive to give a shit about their job, right?
No.
And you know, I get it. You know, I've especially dealing with people at the airport. You deal with like the most stressed out people in the world, right? You know, at a level, I get it. You know. And it's kind of sad in a way where I see a lot of people in customer service positions, and and it feels like the only people that you see actually care about giving a good service is when there is an option to tip in that occupation.
Yeah,
right.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean that's just what I've seen. Like if like there are plenty of customer service positions in America, but only the ones that tip. With my own experience, is the ones where you really feel that they care about the customer, right? And society, right?
We live in a society.
I'd love to say that, man. Yeah, dude, I would do different.
Yeah.
I would totally care.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd care.
No.
Well, no.
I think I'd be like, I don't fucking care. Like, why would I? Like, I don't. It's not my bag.
Well, especially if you're surrounded by that environment, right? It's like you look like the weirdo if you're the one that's caring.
I'm sure at LAX that woman has probably had the most horrible people like shouting at her and fucking just screaming, and then no repercussions.
Of course.
The guy
Exactly.
fucking walks off, goes home, is like, oh, I did nothing wrong.
I totally get that.
It sucks though, but it does suck because you're like, why took it out on me? I was nice to you.
But like it sucks for me because like I happen to be the person that all that fucking frustration got taken out on. And like it just felt fucking horrible, just not to be given the time of day or just to be like made to feel guilty for just trying to like resolve one issue on my end.
Even in the UK, that's pretty rare. That doesn't really happen often. I feel like because there's just a level of disappointment and resentment that everyone has. And it doesn't really go, it doesn't really go below that. Everyone kind of is just kind of like, all right, I guess.
Because I feel like in the UK you can really just like, look, I'm going through a fucking bad day right now, and like you, there's a certain tone where, especially in this kind of situations where I feel like it's much rarer in the UK from what I've seen to like see people really have like a fucking outburst. You know what I mean? I mean, they will happen.
I've seen plenty.
It will definitely happen,
Yeah.
but it's less than what I've seen, here in America at least. Okay, I just needed to vent a bit, okay, because I literally like lost counting about like 8 hours of my time to this.
Yeah, but like when it's LAX, it's like triple. In like mental time.
Yeah.
It's like you gave 8, but you lost 25.
Time moves slow.
I feel like I lost like a year of my life with this experience,
I mean, I'd be miserable if I worked at LAX.
Yeah.
It's fucking worst airport.
I'm miserable going through LAX, let alone working at it.
People are like, bro, at least we're not in Newark. I'm like, you're not fucking any better. Like, what are you on about? Like, you all suck. This is all broken. None of this works.
Yeah, so actually, because we've been to LA before, but I think this is like the first time we've had like an extended stay in LA, right?
Yeah, the longest time I've spent in LA, like in one go, is maybe like 5 days.
Yeah.
At most.
Yeah, and that's always been in downtown, right? And every time I talk to a local, they're like, downtown, really?
Yeah.
That's like the awful.
It's
fucking
pretty
sector.
sketch.
Yeah, that's the sketch sector. Like you'll get stabbed or shot if you walk down the streets there, which is something we've definitely come close to experiencing in downtown LA around AX. But like the reason we normally come to LA is because of AX, and AX is in downtown LA. So, so this is actually our first like experience mostly like outside of downtown, but also getting a chance to like, experience
Actually
others.
explore Los Angeles.
Yeah. So you guys were like here a few days before me. How was your guys' experience so
Well,
far?
it was good until I got COVID.
That's true. That's true.
So, I mean, it was good for like the first 3 or 4 days because I was
Yeah.
staying in Pasadena,
Yeah.
which is like a relatively nicer part of LA. At
Right.
least everyone in LA says it's a nice part of LA. It was nice, to be fair.
Yeah.
And then you have like, places like Glendale, which is next to, which is where all the YouTubers live.
Yeah.
And stuff. And like, I definitely saw like a more like relaxed and more, I guess like, I felt safer in Pasadena and Glendale.
Right.
A million times more than in downtown LA.
Yeah.
Which is not hard because
Yeah.
downtown LA is just GTA in real life, right? So it's like, I felt a lot safer and I was like, okay, I can actually like kind of walk the streets of Pasadena during the day and
Yeah.
and it feels just like a regular town. It's like kind of nice and there's like lots of places to eat and it's like really chill.
Yeah.
You just look like Drake and Josh when I was there. Yeah. I felt like I was on an episode of Drake and Josh.
A little bit,
I don't know
yeah.
why.
I like walked past like an elementary school that looked like it was ripped straight from The Simpsons, and I was like, oh, yeah. Like it was like that was like okay, that it was that point where I'm just like, okay, you know what, LA might not be as bad.
Yeah.
And then again, there was just those like just small little instances
Mm-hmm.
that just made me be like, yeah, maybe not. Maybe
Right.
not.
Yeah.
Like say the fucking LAX situation.
Yeah.
Or like, the Amazon situation. It's just like it's very nitpicky, I know.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes to show how much we've been blessed in Tokyo.
I mean, like it's nitpicky, but it's like it's when you choose for like a place to live, for example, like
Yeah.
visiting and living is like two totally different experiences. But like it's a lot of like little things that will build up over time.
Oh, of course.
And it's one thing I've really missed is walking.
Yeah.
I've missed walking a lot, and I'm sure like there are some places in LA which I'm sure you can walk, but like I feel like a lot of America as a whole is just not built for walking at all, right?
Because I remember I was meeting up with a friend of mine, and she lives like kind of in the middle between Pasadena and Glendale. So like from
Right.
my hotel, it was like 20-minute walk,
Yeah.
right, at most.
Yeah.
And so I was like, we were hanging out in Pasadena, we had lunch and shit, and then I was like, oh, let's just go back to your place and we'll just hang out.
Yeah.
And I looked on the map and it was like 20 minutes. So I'm like, yeah, we can walk that. It's a nice day. Fucking, it's the middle of the day. It's like, what, 2 p.m. in
Yeah.
the afternoon? I kind of want to have a walk. And she was like, she looked at me like I was a fucking weirdo. And she was like,
What are you, homeless?
Yeah, it's just
Why are you
like-
walking. What the fuck?
it's just like, we're going to walk it? And I'm like, don't fucking look at me like that. Like, yes, I would like to use my legs.
Yeah.
Because I haven't done that in a while since I got here. And she was just like, okay. And, kind of thing. And she kind of reluctantly followed me.
Yeah.
I got like 5 minutes into this walk.
Yeah.
And I turned a corner and I was like, I don't want to go down that street. And I was like, okay, I can see what you were talking about. Like, yes, it's a 20-minute walk, but it's also 20 minutes of my life potentially in a lot of danger at the same time,
It's 30 minutes when you got to do like the Navy SEALs checks and all the
yeah.
when you got to dodge all the homeless people. Yeah. But it's, I don't know, even, but like, I feel weird catching an Uber to some place that's like 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
But it's,
Right.
you have to.
Right.
Living here. And I think that's like one thing that made me realize, perhaps LA is fun to visit, but definitely I wouldn't want to live here.
Yeah.
Personally speaking.
I don't know. When there's like 4 lanes of like cars, it like crossing it just feels like a fucking dice roll. And there's like a lot of them don't have lights. So I'm like, wait, so when do I go? And it's just like, no, you play chicken. You cross the first 2.
Yeah.
And then you kind of wait in the middle. like an
Literally,
asshole.
the moment you step out of when car, you are playing with your life.
You're just playing Frogger.
It's not that bad,
like,
but I mean, yeah.
I mean, it gets pretty fucking scary, especially when you're in downtown LA or like any like sketch places, right? Which there are a number of in LA.
She's like, no, I'm white.
Yeah, you get a free pass.
yeah.
Because I still remember, I was saying this to Connor the other day, I still remember that fucking Airbnb you and Sydney booked at the last time we were in AX.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember you were having like a house party and you sent me the address,
Yeah,
right, on
yeah.
Google Maps. And I was like, oh, sick. It's like literally just around the corner from
Yeah.
our hotel. So
Yeah.
I was just like, let's just fucking walk it. It was
Yeah.
like a 3-minute walk, right? And I remember we were mostly on the main road,
Right.
cars whizzing by,
Yeah.
a couple of people on the streets or whatever. It's like, all right, cool, this is fine.
Yeah.
And the moment we got to your street, it was just this dark alleyway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this can't be right.
Yeah.
And then from all the way across the alleyway, I could just hear you going, over here. And I'm like, you are not making me walk down this fucking alleyway. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
There are like 2 other people in this alleyway looking sketch as fuck,
Yeah.
just like standing around. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm literally about to put my life on the line
Yeah.
to go and hang out with Garnt.
Yeah.
All right, fuck it, let's do it.
Because it was like, I remember that Airbnb, because inside, it looked fucking fantastic, you know?
Inside was great.
Yeah, inside was fucking fantastic. We had like a pool table and everything. Like it was a nice open space.
Yeah.
But my God, it was in like the most sketch area you could ever imagine. And I felt bad whenever like I was inviting people around to that Airbnb. Because I remember you like, yeah, at least like you walked down that dark alleyway, because like our house was like right at the end of this dark alleyway. And it was like an alleyway with a dead end. So like if you would like to rank like the top places to get mugged in LA, I'm pretty sure that was like top 10 places to get mugged and stabbed in LA,
Definitely.
right? And I remember like I invited Super Eye Patch Wolf John to the apartment as well, and I remember he gets to the same point, right? And all I see is like a dark silhouette, because he's saying that he's standing at the end of this alleyway. I see like this dark silhouette. It's John. He's by himself, and I'm like, I go out, I see him, I'm like, John, oh yeah. But like, I'm sure to him, he just goes, blah, 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 blah. And so I remember he sees my silhouette. I remember he starts walking the opposite direction. Immediately starts like power walking the opposite direction.
He was like, who's this fucking weirdo calling to me?
Yeah. And so I have to like fucking sprint to run up to him to go, John, it's me, don't worry.
And then he starts running way faster. It's like, get away from me. Dude, that was scary.
Yeah.
I remember a long time ago, Connor, you were saying that you wanted to live in America.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun for a while.
Has that opinion changed?
No, dude, I'd get so much content living here.
Yeah, but you'd have to. But like, okay. When you say living in America, do you mean living in LA?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Like, I just feel like even like you just talk to an Uber driver, you're like, great, I just got content for like a week, dude. Just talking about this guy, how crazy shit he said to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like it's a crazy place, but it's like I don't know. At some point, I'd like to experience it more, but because I feel like even just 2 weeks isn't enough.
Right.
But I want to experience the awful process of like signing up for a water bill or something.
Why would you want to? Why?
I don't know. I love that shit.
Have you not already experienced it enough in Japan?
No, but yeah, I love going through that mundane stuff. Something about it is like, I don't know, if you really feel like you're in it. I don't know why. Something about that experience I really enjoy.
Yeah. I'm good, bro.
During, I'm like, this is awful.
Yeah.
But after the fact, I'm like I'd love to be like, yeah, LAX, dude, what a fuck, crazy. Huh? You know what I mean? Like, when people are like, you know LAX. Instead, now I'm like, fuck, I don't want to go to LAX.
Yeah.
No one wants to go to LAX. It's fucking awful.
I mean, like being here for a few days, we've already got like a fucking like week's worth of content for Trash Takes.
Yeah,
right?
honestly, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you got married. We didn't even speak about that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I guess
we were like too busy fucking ranting about America.
Oh yeah, I guess this is the first podcast since I got married. So yeah,
congrats.
I'm a married man now.
Hell
Look
yeah.
at that.
Silver.
Yeah, silver.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. So I guess now I can ask what was okay. So I remember before the marriage you were just like, oh yeah, you know, is it gonna be the Jujutsu Kaisen of marriages?
It was okay.
Is it gonna be mid? Is it gonna be mid? You know, how was your guys' experiences with it?
It was okay.
Sherry can never say anything.
You know, I could have been in my I could have been in my hotel room watching Jujutsu Kaisen, but you know, I had to come out. No, it was fantastic. I mean, like, yeah, it was just because I mean, this is what, like my second or third like wedding I've been to.
Yeah, is this your first like mate's wedding you guys have been to?
This is my second mate's
It was
wedding.
my first friend's wedding.
But it was very different to my first mate's wedding.
Oh, because it was the Indian wedding.
It was the Japanese wedding.
Oh, okay.
It was the very traditional, like, you know, fucking invite your boss and your colleagues level Japanese wedding. Right? So like, actually, I'd say this was the first time where it's like a proper, like, you know, mates wedding type of thing. I got really fucking close to crying watching you cry though.
Yeah.
I thought, because like in my head I was like, okay, this is a really fucking momentous occasion for Garnt.
Yeah.
You know, obviously every wedding very emotional. You know,
Yeah.
really important day for a lot of people, right? And so like, you know, I'm like, you know, I cried at my cousin's wedding, right?
Right.
Because obviously, like, watching a family member cry is going to make you cry, right? But I didn't cry at my mate's wedding.
Yeah.
Right? Nothing against my mate. I just did it.
You're not good enough.
It's like you're a mate,
You
but
don't deserve it, man.
you're a mate, but you're not my boy.
yeah.
But like, but I was fully expecting that I was going to cry at some point in your wedding.
Yeah.
But I didn't know what was going to be the trigger.
Yeah.
And definitely, and the trigger came very quickly when you started crying. Because, I don't know, because there's something about watching Garnt cry that is like, really fucking sad.
It's like seeing your dad cry for the first time.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
this just doesn't happen.
It
What the
doesn't happen.
fuck?
It
What the
never
fuck?
fucking happens. So when you see it
Yeah.
in real life, it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah.
This is gonna make me cry. And
Yeah.
like I could tell that I wasn't the only one, because literally fucking 70% of that room was crying at that moment as well.
That was like
right?
a sniffing convention for a
That
while.
was a sniffing
People have
convention
told
for a
me,
while.
man.
Yeah, dude. And then I cried, and then I almost cried a second time when it was that clip where we hugged it out.
Oh man,
on the dance floor.
So many fucking wholesome moments from that
Yeah.
wedding. I'm fucking glad. I'm happy because I'm glad that everyone was. It was just like a happiness, like fucking gathering. You know, everyone was just like good vibes. Everyone was just happy. It was good vibes, and that was before everyone got like fucking hammered and fucking drunk, man. Holy fucking
Dude,
shit.
some people got blasted that.
Meilyne, right. How many? I remember Meilyne. So we had an open bar, and I remember
Best and worst decision ever.
Best and worst decision of my life, because I remember going up to the bar to open the bar, and you have to put like a tab down on the bar, and I remember asking how much should I, how much is like a reasonable number,
Right.
to put the tab down, and the guy says like, we've been doing weddings for years, we recommend this number. Great. And so I was like, great. Just in case, I'm going to put double the amount so that I don't have to like get charged. So you don't have to call me if it like breaks that limit. So
Yeah.
I'm like, great. And so how it works is that however much you don't spend, they'll refund you. So about like a few days after the wedding, I give them an email to be like, oh great, can I get the refund please? How much was not used on the tab?
Yeah.
And I wait a few days because it was like bank holiday or something, and then I get an email back.
Processing all this fucking transaction.
Yeah, and I get an email back, and they're like, "Oh, great! We can refund you a grand total of £1.40."
Legit, £1.
£1.40.
Damn.
And I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
I'm not
like
even mad anymore. I'm just impressed.
You like meticulously calculated that.
yeah. But it was like double the recommended amount, and you guys fucking destroyed that. And I'm not surprised, because like I've never seen so many fucking shots being taken out in like one night. I took around like 7 shots of tequila that night. My God, Meilyne was a fucking tequila fiend. My God, if you went into like a 5-meter radius of Meilyne, you are getting dragged to do a shot of tequila.
Yeah.
I remember like this one time, I remember seeing Meilyne like ask Joey if you wanted a shot, and you were like, no, Meilyne, I hate shots, and she fucking gave you a fucking death grip and just dragged you to the bar and made you do a shot.
She
of tequila.
literally grabbed me by my sleeve and was just like, no, it's not an answer. And so I did that first shot, and I was like, so the first shot was like, all right, you know what? It's a wedding. There's like 7 other people doing the show with me. Fuck it. I hate tequila so much.
Yeah.
But I'll do it just because I don't want to.
You're vibing.
Yeah,
It's good
I
vibes.
want to be part of the vibe,
Yeah.
right? So I did it. It was fucking horrible. And then the second time around was when Meilyne was like, no is not an answer, and dragged me to the bar again with all the familiar faces, like, oh, the first time for you all? All right, yeah. So I did the second shot, hated it. And then a couple of hours passed by, and I'm like, okay, Meilyne hasn't called me back yet. And so just when I thought I was in the clear, Meilyne from a distance fucking scutters towards me. And it's just like, tequila shot, Joey? And I just had to go, fuck off. I literally flipped a finger and was just like, no, get away from me. And I just walked off, and Meilyne was just like,
fucking ran.
yeah, I literally ran from her because because I knew if I wasn't like stern about it, she would grab me by the sleeve again.
Yeah.
Because I heard from a bunch of other people who were like way too nice to Meilyne that they were like, yeah, she made me do like 6 shots, and I'm like, That's because you have to say the hard no. You have to say, it's not just the soft no, it's the hard no.
Yeah.
Predator.
Yeah,
Did she make you do any shots?
I think so. I didn't really mind though. One's fine.
You only got to do one?
I think Meilyne only made me do one.
Why did she make me do like three?
I guess because you were just too close to her, like, vicinity-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really worried because, we had food and I was like, this isn't enough. It's not like 3 courses gone.
Yeah.
Really? Come on. I'm a 6-course kind of guy minimum. Or at least give me someone else's course who didn't finish it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, Lord behold, people just start bringing out pizza.
Yeah, we got
It was
like
all you could eat pizza.
it was like all you can eat like stone baked pizza.
Yeah, I think I had like 4 whole pizzas. Like, it was
I had a worrying amount of pizza.
it was more pizza than any doctor would ever recommend. Like even if you were like carb loading for like a desert survival for like 10 weeks, you wouldn't eat this many calories. Like, this was I don't know. Every time they brought it to me, I was like, well, I can't say no. I mean, it's a different topping. I got to try it.
That was me with the espresso martinis.
Oh yeah.
I think I had like 5 espresso
So
martinis
we
that day, and
all-
I'm like, oh, that's why I'm shaking.
Yeah, so we had a station to give out free espresso martinis to everyone.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, we wanted everyone to have a good time. Like,
No wonder that tab was high.
no, that wasn't even on the tab.
Oh my
that was,
God.
That was like
That
a
was
pre-packaged
prepaid.
that we paid for.
Yeah, because
yeah.
I remember I was like, I went up to the bar after like my first espresso martini that they brought out for everyone, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, can I get another espresso martini? And the dude literally just points to the side because
there's a
there's literally this like 3-layered shelf of espresso martinis. There was like 12 espresso martinis. I was like, take your pick. And I was like,
Yeah,
oh
I
shit,
did.
all
Yeah,
right,
I did, man.
cool. Well, I drank like 3 of them and I was just fucking shaking.
Yeah. So I guess like to go to like the start of my experience of the wedding, because obviously you guys' experience was very, very different from mine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, so we had like I think it was only like 62 people at this wedding. So it's like a fairly small wedding, but like I really, really liked the size of the wedding because it was a good amount of size. I could keep up with like pretty much.
You could interact with everyone.
I could talk with everyone and
Yeah.
not feel like it was just like a convention experience where I was having like one sentence conversations with
Right,
people,
right.
but like have proper meaningful conversations, which is good because I just wanted to like share the good vibes and everything like that. But I remember like the night before the wedding, I was so fucking I don't know what the right word to describe
Nervous,
it was. It was like a mixture of like nervous and excited because like it was not like the bad kind of nervous. Like the way I described it was it kind of felt like you were 10 years old and it was the day before Christmas and like you knew you were getting that N64 for Christmas. You knew that this was like the special Christmas where you were getting the fucking game console.
Yeah, of course.
And so I did not get like I got like 2 hours of sleep before my wedding, before the day before my wedding, because I thought because I tried to go to sleep at a reasonable time, so I was gonna go to sleep at around 11, and like I'm like great, I'm gonna have a reasonable amount of sleep before my wedding, gonna be well rested, and then like an hour passes, 2 hour passes, and I'm like I cannot get to sleep. Okay, if I go to sleep now, I'll get 6 hours of sleep now. An hour passes. All right, 5 hours of sleep now.
That's how it always works.
Now, and I was just like, if I just go to sleep now, I'll wake up and I'm gonna have a wife. You know, it's gonna be great. And then it gets to about 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm in pure copium right now because I'm just like, what if I just have no sleep before my wedding? I can function, right? If I just stay up all night, I can function, right? That's something I can do for like one of the most important days of my life. I can do that. But like before I like truly justify it to myself, I'm like, okay, let's just try something new. So I take off all of my sheets and take off all my blankets and I put them on the floor. I'm like, let's try sleeping on the floor, on the hard floor. And for some reason, I don't know if it's just like these like Asian genes or something where it just felt like I was home again. And I just like immediately conked out.
Oh my god!
Like, I don't know, right? Like I was
Were you
sleeping
reminded of your monk days, like sleeping on the temple
I
floor?
don't even, pretty much. I
Probably.
don't know. It felt like I was sleeping on like a fucking futon or something. I don't know what it was, but I was sleeping on the floor. But like I just immediately conked out after like sleeping on like a nice comfy bed or something. And then like we go to the wedding venue, and of course I was like tense, nervous. It was like the feeling of like before you start a panel or you go on stage or something.
Yeah.
It's just like this big thing is coming up, but you just gotta wait around for it to start.
That's the worst.
Yeah, I was so fucking jittery, and
I know.
Yeah, like because I talked to Sydney if she was nervous for the wedding, and she was like her nerves like ended the moment she woke up because she was like so busy like before the wedding started because she had to like go do her makeup, go do her hair, and like all the bridesmaids as well. So she was at the venue from like 9 a.m.
Oh wow!
And I didn't need to get there till 12 to 12 noon. Yeah,
You got the easy job.
yeah. And so like that was just like a lot of time for just me to like be alone with my own thoughts and be really, really fucking nervous. And so yeah, I was really tense, nervous, whatever. But luckily I had my boys with me. I had my boys.
The lads were there.
The lads were there. My hype men, were there with me. And I remember going to the boys. So to fully explain, neither of these two were my best men. It's okay. So I'm sorry, guys. And only Connor was a groomsman. But like part of the reason was like it made me realize how long it's been since I've planned this wedding because me and Sydney had planned the wedding basically like before we had moved to Japan. And like every role or like the entire wedding party was chosen and everything. And it was like the wedding was going to originally be before Trash Taste even started. So it's like fucking insane that like I've grown so much closer to these two in like these past 2 years where like when my wedding was planned, I knew Joey, but we'd hung out only like a few times, and we'd hung out like a lot, but I was like not as close to you as I am now.
Definitely.
So it was like, it was so weird to have a wedding that was planned 2 years ago where like now the dynamic is like totally fucking different and everything.
I was just in the crowd being like,
yeah. So like, I remember like we call everyone into the main ceremony hall. So everyone starts getting their seats and like I go out by myself. And I'm like, Garnt, you got this. Garnt, you're gonna do a no tear wedding run. There's going to be zero crying at this wedding. And like, I go out to myself just to give myself like a breather. And like, I'm like, okay, I bring out like, me and Sydney had personal vows. So I bring out my personal vows and I'm like, rehearsing them in my head. I'm like, okay, Garnt, you got this. This is zero tears. We're not going to cry at this wedding. You got this. I read like the first sentence and I like start like fucking like my jaw just starts going. And I'm like, oh no, this is a bad sign. And so while I'm doing this, like all of my lads, all of my groomsmen come out and they see me, and I'm like, guys, I'm gonna need some hype around me. I'm gonna need some fucking hype around me. And so like this was a moment where I took a page out of Connor's book. I'm like, I literally go full monkey mode right outside the ceremony room.
It works, dude.
It works. And I was like, you fucking got this. You fucking got this. Not realizing that everyone in the set, could you hear me like just fucking shouting, by the way?
I heard you shouting at something, but I wasn't too sure. I was like, what? That's God, right? Like,
people who fear the shouting to hype you up are people who haven't tried it. If you try it, it actually works. You fully commit to it, it works.
Yeah, I mean, like that time it really fucking worked because I had so much adrenaline in my body. That I needed some way to I needed some way to release it. And so I remember getting to the ceremony room and I'm like, okay, it's good. The shouting helped. I'm like reset on the shouting's help. I go to the front. I turn around. I look at my mum's face and just immediately I'm just like, I'm a broken man again. Because like my cousin told me this after the ceremony, but he's just like, if there's one thing you definitely should not do when you're standing up there waiting,
look at your mom.
It's look at your mom. It's look at your parents. And
that's true. I can understand that.
Because it's a feeling I can't describe where my dad and my mom were like fucking tearing up and I rarely see them tear up. And it's just like, I don't know, like what did my face look like when I was waiting up there? I got to know. Cause
I can do a reenactment of exactly what you were like. You were like... That's what you look like. You're like,
Close, yeah. That's pretty accurate. Yeah.
it's just like every now and then you'd like turn and be like, oh yeah. That's what you look like right before.
There was like because there was a lovely what do you call it, quartet?
Yeah, quartet.
Yeah,
It was lovely, they were killing it, playing this music, and every time they were about to because the song ends.
Yeah, yeah.
They're not doing a medley. The song finishes, and then they start the new one, and everyone's talking, and then the moment they finish the song, I was like, oh my god,
Everyone stops.
it's starting. And then they start playing the next song. I was
I was like,
just kidding,
thank
'cause
God.
we're all waiting for Sydney to show
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
And even I'm standing up here next to God. I'm like, what's my fucking role? What do I do? I just want to not fuck up. It's his day. I don't want to do like a bit. I'm not here to like do a bit. Like, what do I do? I don't know.
And then seeing you, again, it was seeing you nervous that made everyone else in the room nervous, right? Being like, oh shit, this is actually finally happening and all that, right? And then the quartet stops for the final time. And then it's like, everyone was like, okay, it's starting, right? And then Sydney walks down, and then you immediately start breaking down. And then,
I expected that.
which I fully expected, right? So
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh, here come the floodgates. Here's it comes. And then what stopped me was the song you guys played.
Okay,
I was just
okay.
like, oh my God, here it comes. Is that Guts' theme? And I literally, like, Jan was sitting next to me and Mudan was sitting next to me.
Yeah.
And we all looked at each other and were like, that's Guts' theme, right?
Yeah. So like, okay, so
What made you? Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask. What made you choose that?
Sydney walked down the aisle to Guts' theme,
Yeah.
and I
Which was amazing.
Like, which like I knew it was coming because like I remember it was literally the day that Mura passed away,
Right.
And I remember we were at Netflix shoot at the day, so I didn't have like proper time to like process that news, and I remember that day I went back home and I put on Guts' theme, and I was just like zoning out to Guts' theme, fucking crying to the fact that to the news that had just got announced. And Sydney was also listening to it, just listening to it, seeing me listen to it for hours. And she's just like, I fucking love this song, because like it's like, to me, Guts' theme is
amazing.
like by far like one of the greatest tracks in anime to ever be made. It's such a beautiful track, and it's unfortunate that it's been memed a lot nowadays. So that's like how people perceive Guts' theme. But like, I remembered listening to that on that day, that it's just such a beautiful fucking track.
Gorgeous
Yeah,
track.
and I fucking cried to it so many times. And so I remember Sydney goes to me, jokingly, she turns to me and she was like, wouldn't it be funny if we walked down the aisle to this? And I was just like, yeah, that'll be funny. And then we both turned to each other and we looked at each other in the eyes and we're just like, but what if?
Can we? Like, what are you gonna do? We'll use the fucking default music? Bro,
Yeah.
that's boring.
And then like we're like, would it be cheesy at all? Would it be cheesy? And so we let it sink for a while. And like we let it sit for a few days, we let it sit for a few weeks, and then like the longer like we sat in it, the more it felt like it was just the right idea. Because like I fucking knew that I was gonna cry listening to Guts' theme, seeing Sydney down the aisle. Like I'm sure if like people knew we were gonna play Guts' theme, that would have taken like the fuck Guts' theme.
I wish I knew beforehand.
Because
Because I feel like it was like the initial like, really? It was like that moment, right? Where it's just like, wow, they're actually using Guts' theme. All right.
Yeah.
Like there was a split second where I was about to start laughing.
Yeah.
But then I was like, but then again, seeing you and then seeing Sydney, I was
Yeah.
just like, nah, this is like,
Yeah.
this was the right choice. I
Yeah. Because I remember Sydney was telling me that, before Sydney comes out, all the bridesmaids walk out.
Yeah.
So if you are familiar with Guts' theme, there's like the intro bit, and then there's like
then there's the voice.
There's the voice of the guy going, and I remember thinking, I see all the bridesmaids walk out, and I'm like, where's Sydney? And as soon as like the fucking comes out, she just appears, right? And apparently behind the scenes, like Sydney's like with her dad waiting to walk out, and her dad's like, come on, it's time to go. And she's like, no, I need to wait for that moment.
The right moment.
I need to wait for that voice before I appear.
Oh my god.
It was like so incredibly well timed.
It was incredibly well.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like fucking God
Coincidence.
smiling down on us.
Yeah.
But But no, Sydney was like, no, I'm waiting for this moment. I am waiting for this
You're gonna
moment.
get one shot.
Yeah,
Why not?
and it fucking worked, man.
Yeah,
Like,
dude.
I think that's why I just immediately started bawling because I hear that voice like just pop off, and I see Sydney emerge. I'm just like, this is.
It's a double whammy.
It's like a fucking beautiful sight, man. I cannot even begin to describe what I felt at that moment because it was literally like a scene out of an anime. You know, it was just kind of like it was so like
Had final episode vibes.
Yeah, dude.
Final episode
yeah,
vibes. All happy
like
endings.
that moment that fucking voice hit, she emerges, and I'm. Fuck, man. I'm like fucking getting teary eyed just like fucking thinking about it.
man.
But yeah, she walks down. We say our vows, and we fucking stumble through our fucking vows, man.
Do we want to? No, you
I
guys.
think you did
No,
pretty
you guys
good.
were like, you guys were tearing up, obviously, but like, I think, you guys said
I
your
would say
vows.
stumble. I say you take pauses, but
Yeah,
like,
you took,
Okay.
yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't take a
you took it.
dramatic
Yeah, you took
pause.
your time with it.
Okay, yeah.
You know, it's not one of our fucking sponsors, which is, by the way, I'm just.
Do you want to talk about the actual stumble that happened?
Okay. So
Which was the greatest moment of this wedding.
So obviously everyone's fucking sniffing. Everyone's crying after we've just finished our vows together. Like everyone's
Very emotional.
Everyone's saying it's a very emotional, just good vibes. Everyone's just happy. And so the registrar comes over and she starts to say like the official vows that we need to repeat after her in order to officialize our marriage.
Yeah.
And then she goes like she said my name like a few times before, so she knows how to pronounce my name correctly and everything like that. And then it gets to like the final vows where she goes,
The most important
yeah,
one.
and she goes, "Do you, Garnt?"
And everyone in the room was like, yeah, she did it.
And that just like all of like the nervousness and the like emotions just like fucking evaporated. The entire room explodes and like fucking starts like
You would have thought it was like a FIFA match happening. It was just like,
it was so fucking perfect that everyone
thought it was scripted.
Everyone thought it was scripted,
Yeah.
and everyone was like, "You made her say that, right?"
Yeah.
It was a bit. It was a bit, and I'm just like, "No."
That just makes it even better.
Yeah. And I can't remember what I said after that happened, but I was like, "Yeah, got him,
Got it. She did the thing.
She did the thing," and I'm like, "Damn, are you a trash taste viewer? Because you just gave us like a year's worth of content, man."
She's like, this marriage hits different. we don't say that anymore, do we?
We don't say that
Fuck,
anymore.
we've said
Yeah,
that
We're
yeah.
gonna bring that back.
I just
dude.
realized people said that and it's so fucking
It was
long.
a wedding with attitude.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean that was a brilliant moment. That was like the icing on the cake.
Yeah,
you know, a lot
yeah.
of people would be pissed off, you know, if their name got mispronounced at their wedding. But I was just like this just like made the wedding 10 times more memorable and that moment 10 times more special.
And I guess like as you were saying, like the nerves just immediately like disappeared from
Yeah,
the
yeah,
night. And
yeah,
then the rest of
exactly.
the night was just good times.
yeah, I did almost fuck up. So close to fucking up, and one of the most important moments in my life because we finish our vows. We're officially we're like husband and wife.
Yeah.
And then I go sit down to sign my marriage papers. And my marriage was a week after MCM, right?
Okay.
So like the previous week, I had just been like signing I had just been signing like hundreds and hundreds of prints and everything like that. But I was signing them as Giguk, right?
Yeah, of course.
And like my Giguk signature is very, very similar to my real signature, but except it spells out my real name, right?
Yeah.
And so what happens is I sit down to sign my marriage certificate. I put down the G, and then I put down the I.
Giant, maybe.
Giant.
It's like Italian Gant.
Giant.
Hello, I am Giant.
Yeah, and so it's a small line, and I luckily like I stop myself before like I go too far. But I get like a fifth of the way to signing Giguk on my marriage certificate.
That would have been amazing. though.
You could make the A from the I, right? It'd be a really vertical A. But you could still make it.
You can recover from that.
Yeah.
Recover.
But luckily, I was able to recover from that before I put down the extra G.
But when you
It's
said
like
that-
Sydney Ponywag.
Yeah, when you said I nearly made a big mistake, I was like, "What? I nearly married the wrong person."
I married Giga.
Yeah, Sydney's almost married to fucking Giga instead of Garnt. Might as well just put down the fucking anime zone.
I just got a flashback. I just remember when the fucking spiel of if anybody has anything to say,
yeah.
and Sydney was like, "Don't you fucking dare!" Everyone. That was good. I like that part.
Yeah.
That was very on brand.
we were planning beforehand in the boys' locker room.
Yeah.
Right. Or not the locker room, but like the changing room where all the,
Boys locker.
the groomsmen and like all the dudes were hanging out. We were like conspired to be like, what if we just like when the pastor says like, if anyone objects to this wedding, please, say your piece right now, whatever. We were all planning like all the boys to just stand up and be like, we object, and then we just skip out of the room like with the boys.
Yeah.
We're like, that would have been funny.
Yeah.
But
then Sydney was just like, don't you fucking dare. She
dare.
verbally said that.
And we're like, all right,
and
fine.
everyone laughed. It was a great time. And then it just felt like after that everyone was just on such a high. Like
man.
it already felt like everyone was drunk, but just
drunk on happiness.
drunk on like good vibes.
And then alcohol.
And then alcohol.
So
And
we're
then
like doubly
alcohol
drunk.
on top of that. So like they were like, I mean, there was a lot of magical things that happened at the wedding. I remember. So we had some fucking excellent photographers and videographers. They
were great. Yeah.
They were fucking great. And then I remember we went outside. We started taking like photos and everything. With like the group photos, family photos, and everything like that. And then we finally have like a moment to ourselves. And Joey turns to me and he goes, "Wouldn't it be funny if we did like the end of Ava congratulations scene right now?" And I looked at Joey and I look around and I just realized this is like a once in a lifetime.
You have the
power.
This is literally a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm like, Joey, that's a great fucking idea. And I literally like,
We're all weebs here.
yeah,
we can do it.
yeah. I literally gather the boys because it's like
You're like, lads, assemble.
actually no. It was really funny because before that we had like separate while we were taking photos, like we had separate photos for like the guys and like the girls, and oh my god, like the guys had so much fucking testosterone when we took our photos. I can't wait to see them. But I remember there was this really funny moment where it was like a school playground again, where like all of the girls were on one side of the venue and all of the guys were on the other side of the venue. So it was like a school trip or something. So luckily all of the guys are gathered in one spot, and I like gather the boys. It's such
Gather the boys.
Yeah. I'm like,
Get 'em-
boys,
get 'em
I'm like,
together.
boys, come here.
You're like, lads.
We have an important mission, lads. Okay, and at this point, people are like, Garnt, why are you calling us? We're just taking the photos.
Yeah.
I'm like, has everyone seen Evangelion? And immediately, as soon as I say that, everyone's like, King, we know what to do. Say no more. Say no more, King. We know exactly what to do, which is the beauty of like having like a bunch of like weebs as friends, right? Because everyone's just on the same page.
Yeah.
I didn't even need to say what we did.
Yeah.
And so we filmed the congratulations scene. It's fucking amazing.
Which came out amazing.
Yeah, it came out
Especially
amazing.
the edit you did as well on Twitter was fucking amazing. Oh my god.
Yeah. Thank you all. Yeah, so like I guess like going off that same vein, we tried to have like a traditional wedding, it was as traditional.
Tried.
We tried to have a traditional wedding,
couldn't
but
fucking
like,
do it.
yeah, it's because also like we're like a bunch of weebs, so like it was, even though it was like fucking painful to have this wedding be delayed for 2 years, it actually I think came out to be like a blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
Because it really, really gave me and Sydney the time to really
Shit
like,
ton of time,
yeah, to really like add a lot of like little things like that were just like us, and like I feel like that's the thing that people hopefully really remember when they like think back to our wedding, because we wanted to have like some anime references at our wedding. Of course we did. But we didn't want like a full on fucking cosplay, wedding.
Yeah.
Which we
don't want like a full on weeb wedding.
Yeah.
What do you reckon be Sebastian Michaelis?
Yeah.
Fuck, dude.
And so like we tried, we gave everyone like a postcard with like a drawing of either like it was me and Sydney in a wedding dress in like the end of Ava end screen.
Yeah.
Or it was like the famous Oromo one. And I can't remember which one you guys got.
I got the Ava one.
Oh, you got the Ava one?
I got I don't remember.
You don't remember?
Ava.
Yeah. Oh, you guys got the lucky one.
Why is that lucky?
I don't know, because I had a bunch of people coming to me to be like, you gave me the fucking Oromo one.
Yeah, D got the Orimo one. He was so pissed off.
Yeah.
He was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. But like we tried to write a nice little personal message to everyone who attended our wedding. And it's like little touches like this that I don't think we would have been able to do. One, if we didn't have enough time. And two, if there was like too many people there. Yeah.
Yeah,
yours
that's
was,
true.
Yours was nice. Sydney just insulted me. in mine.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck, Sydney? Like, she was
That's
like,
pretty much the same with everyone. Yeah.
What the fuck? Like, what did I do? I turned up, didn't I?
But like another thing is we wanted to like try to integrate like the places we'd been to and the cultures we lived in as much as possible. So we had like a custom made masu box made, which if you don't know what that is, it's one of those sake boxes, right? So we had like a custom crest that we made, which was like a combination of like both of our families, and then we gave everyone masu boxes, which you normally drink sake out of.
Yeah.
But
So I was excited.
yeah. So
I was like telling everyone at the table, being like, yeah, so there's this thing called like koborezake that you use these masu boxes for, where you like you pour it so much that it overflows into the box, and everyone was like, oh, cool. And then
like if you know me and Sydney, you know that we are not sake drinkers, right?
Yeah.
But like I don't know why, but there is a drink within our group which we are like really famous for drinking, because every time we go to like a party, someone brings like crates and crates of this stuff. And so I announce in my speech that we're not going to be toasting with champagne, but we're going to be toasting with soju. And I'd heard from like several people that Joey's face was just like, I can't, how dare you?
I was like, I've never experienced racism at a wedding, but I felt like my culture was extremely appropriated. I was like, really? For fuck's sake, I don't even like soju. I did it for you. Christ.
The cultural appropriation, yeah. I had several people being like, dude, bro, Joey is pissed when you said that.
Okay, pissed is like a strong word.
I know.
Yeah. Like I was like, yeah, fucking whatever. I was too much on like a happy high to give a shit. It was like the next day where I thought about it, I was like, those fuckers. How dare you? I'm gonna take this masu box home just because. Yeah. But God damn it.
Sake just tastes like fucking foot vodka. I don't know. I mean, like,
Nah, you guys just haven't had the good shit.
I did the 100 tasting sake thing. All of them happen to taste like shit.
Nah, you don't have the palate for it.
A palate of what? Like a fucking wood chipper?
Not Japanese enough.
I think so.
Exactly.
Fire shit.
Yeah.
Sake? Oh.
I used to not like sake. Like I used to think it was like paint thinner.
Maybe when I get older, I get more.
Maybe.
sad.
Maybe how much older than you?
Maybe I just
About
haven't lived
2 years?
it. Yeah.
2 years? Yeah, you never know. Ask me in 2 years. Will I like sake? We'll find out.
Yeah,
we'll
maybe
find
I haven't lived in Japan for long enough.
Yeah.
I think like the next thing I remember was actually like the cake cutting. So I don't know what you guys remember, but like I'm trying to like think back to all like the big fucking things that I remember about the wedding. And so obviously it's traditional for a wedding that you have like a cake cutting with the bride and groom, and everyone like gathers around and like take pictures and everything like that. And I remember like Sydney cuts the cake. And then on her second slice, she like completely like fucks up and just goes like diagonal. and like there's footage of this, and I like fucking burst out laughing, saying, "Sydney, what the fuck is that?" But then like she like full on just like grabs the slice with her hand, like shoves it in my face, and I'm like eating it, and then she has a bite for herself. And obviously, like, everyone's laughing, everyone's like applauding and everything. And then I turn over to Meilyne and I see Meilyne's mouth moving and she says, oh, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what? And I think, oh, she must be saying, oh, your size is so cute or something.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I go closer to be like, Meilyne, what'd you say? And she goes, lick it, lick her.
What the fuck?
You fucking freak.
And I'm like, what the fuck? But I'm like, okay, I'm fuck. I'll do it for you, Meilyne. I'll do it for you.
Well, she was just like,
Meilyne's weird.
so you just did like a Bucciarati on her? Like,
Basically, I licked the rest of the cake off of
You got
face.
half cake, half makeup. You just got a mouthful of makeup.
Yeah, she was caked with makeup.
she was caked physically
in multiple ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've heard like some funny stories about other people that other things that have happened around the wedding that I wasn't involved in. Obviously, everyone was drunk. I think one of the people who got drunk the fastest actually was Karen. Did you guys see Karen at all? Demon Dice?
Yeah,
That's
I did.
all?
I was the one that noticed that she was like slouched on the couch, like just forward slouched like this.
Yeah.
And I walked up to her because no one was there, and I was like, Karen, are you okay? And then she just turns to me. She's like, I fucked up, man. I fucked up, man. I was like, what happened? What happened? Like what? Did you get in a fight or something?
Yeah.
Like, what happened? And she's like, no, I had 4 double shots of whiskey before the food. And I was like, why did you do that?
Just good vibes.
I was like, yeah, because I guess she was just having a really good time.
Yeah.
And I sobered up. My bedroom was on like the 3rd floor, no elevator. I fucking sobered the fuck. Every time I had to go and get some from my room, I came back down like fully sober. Fuck, walking those stairs. Fuck, dude.
Yeah.
Set my luggage up like fucking my entire life.
Yeah, so I was kind of comforting her, getting her water and shit, and then Sydney and a bunch of other girls came to be like, all right, you know what, you can just like go crash in Sydney's room, whatever. So that was okay.
Yeah.
The other one that was hilarious was Jan.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't fucking there. Like, it was like I was literally talking to him. It was me and Marky and Jan, and we were just chatting, and it was like 30 minutes before the dinner.
Yeah.
Right. And then Jan was like, dude, I'm gonna get a nap. And I'm like, Jan, the dinner's in like literally 30 minutes. Like, we're about to go in to sit down. And he's like, oh, no, don't worry. I'll be back, bro. Don't worry. And we never saw him again.
Man went for cigarettes and never came back.
It was like the dad going for milk and cigarettes. And I was just like, yeah, I'll be back. And then and it was like 10 p.m. when I noticed. I came out of my drunken stupor and I was like,
Yeah, I called
has
him.
anyone seen Jan?
Yeah, I called him. I was like, "Where the fuck are you?" Because he also, right when he's about to leave, I was like, "Where you going?" He's like, "Oh, I'm going to go sleep." I'm like, "Dude, dinner right now." Like, come, it's right now.
Yeah.
And he was just like, "No, I'll be back." I'm like, "You're not going to fucking be back. I know you. You're not going to be back. Come, eat the fuck." I was like, "At least eat the dinner and then go." They paid for the food. Eat the food and then leave.
Yeah. And that was literally the last time I saw him until now. And like, I texted him, I think like on the day I was about to fly out, like to LA, because I just remembered. I was like, yeah, that was literally the last time I saw and talked to Jan. So I texted him being like, are you alive?
Yeah.
That is one question I've asked Jan more than any other person I know in my life.
He just disappears.
Yeah.
He just disappears and you just don't know where he is. So it's like, are you alive?
Everyone
Question
has
mark.
that one friend. who-
Yeah, and he was like, yeah, bro.
Yeah, you were telling me about how you saw Jan in like the most Jan place before the wedding started, right?
So it was before the wedding started, and it was Connor, myself, and I forgot who else. Someone else. Oh, it was Mudan, I think.
Yeah.
And we were just like, let's just go get like because dinner wasn't until like 4 p.m. right, and we had gathered at like midday.
Right.
So we're like, well, fuck, I'm gonna be starving throughout this reception,
Yeah.
right? So it's just like, yeah, there's a cafe around the corner. Let's just go there. And I was walking there, and we walked past this alleyway.
Yeah.
Right. And I literally did a double take. I was like that because Jan is standing there, full suit, sunglasses, with a cigarette in his hand, just talking to a homeless dude. And I knew, and it was like the most scruffy homeless dude. He's wearing like this red bathrobe with like this cigarette in his hand.
I don't know if he was homeless. He just dressed like fucking Daniel Radcliffe in The Guns Akimbo. Without the guns.
Yeah,
like
but
he's
without the
literally
gun,
dressed like to that.
You mean the one where it's like
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, literally that outfit,
Yeah.
like one one for one,
It was
just
like
without the guns.
Yeah, just like no shoes, bathrobe, just with a nappy hair with a cigarette in his hand. And Jan's just like properly dressed up in sunglasses with a cigarette. And I'm just like, Jan? And he looks over at him and he's like, bro, help me. And I'm like, what do you mean help you? And he's like, and because he's like, oh, sorry, my friend's here. And then he walks over to me and I'm like, what? Do you know that guy? And he's like, no. And I'm like, why were you there? And he's like, because he asked for a cigarette. And I just gave him a cigarette, and then he just started talking to me, and I couldn't leave. And I'm like, "What do you mean? You can very easily leave. You can just be like, sorry, I have somewhere to go." But because of course Jan's just too fucking nice and naive.
He just sort of tries to sweet talk everyone.
Yeah, he's like speech 100 every time, right? So he's just like, he's like, "Oh, thanks for saving me, bro." And I'm like, I literally did nothing. I just walked past and you were talking to a dude in a bathrobe. It's the most Jan thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Like another thing that fucking cracked me up as well was like, because Mudan flew in from Estonia just to basically come to this wedding. Yeah. And I felt so bad. We were like, this was like before like the ceremony. We were all getting ready in like the boys' powder room, and then Mudan comes in, and then Connor's like, Mudan, I got something for you. He reaches into his bag and brings out the hard disk of the previous Trash Taste episodes that we had just filmed in England.
Yeah, so I didn't just spring this on him. I wasn't like that. So we recorded the Trash Taste episodes ones in the UK, right? But obviously in the UK and the US, like these episodes are normally about 400 gigabytes total.
Yeah.
And like
we've been blessed by Japanese internet.
There's just no internet speeds that can do it. So it was either we ship it to him to like in Estonia, which would actually be faster than trying to find somewhere to upload them.
Yeah.
So he was coming to the wedding. I messaged him like, "Hey, I know this is like kind of like weird, but can I just give you the SSD of the episodes in person?" And he was like, "Yeah, sure." Okay. But then obviously he was kind of playing it up in person. He was like, "Wow, really making me work today." And I was like, "Come on, man. I'm just you know."
It's like, thank you for coming all the way to England. Here's some work.
He specifically said, "I'm going to bill you for this hour." I was like, "Oh, dude, all right, okay, whatever." Hey, but it all turned out okay.
Yeah, you guys got the episode on time, and that's because Mudan got the work at my wedding. Yeah, and like to build on like the Karen story, because you saw like the girls like you saw like the girls like carrying her off to her room, right? So Sydney told me what happened after they started carrying her off. So I told you the story about my mum at like my cousin's previous wedding, right? Where like I never seen my mum drunk before, but like I saw like a sleeping dragon like awaken at my cousin's wedding. I saw that sleeping dragon awaken even harder this time, right? Because apparently what happened was Sydney was like trying to like help Karen up to her room. She feels a tap on the shoulder. Turns round, it's my mum, and she has a beer in hand, and Sydney's like trying to be polite, being like, "Mum, are you doing okay? I'm trying to get my friend up to her room." Like Karen's like, like on Sydney's shoulder, and my mum's like, "Watch this," and she downs the bottle of beer. Like she doesn't even like say, "Do you want me to down this?" This time she just goes, "Watch this," and she downs it.
Walks away.
And Sydney's like, "Mummy, I'm kind of busy right now," and my mum looks at Karen, and my mum looks back at Sydney, and she goes, "I'll be back. Wait here." And apparently she tries to go back to do it again. And Sydney's like, "Mum, I really need to take my friend up to like my room right now." But yeah, my mum didn't even make it to the end of the night.
Your mum was popping off, dude.
Yeah, she was popping off. You were popping off on the fucking dance floor. Holy fucking shit, Joe.
I was with D. And he can dance his ass off. Yeah. And I heard the Kaguya-sama opening, and I was like, I have to pop off. Like, there's people that
played. I didn't remember.
Yeah, this played.
She was at the bar.
Yeah.
No, because like the dance floor was kind of weird, because it was like there was either no one there or everyone was there. Yeah. There was no in between. So it was during the time where it was like me, D, and like a couple of other people, and we just there's like a couple of tracks playing, and then the Kaguya-sama theme starts, and we're just like, well, we gotta dance to this, right? Like, we gotta pop off to this song.
Yeah.
And so I just start popping off because I was stupidly drunk, not realizing someone is behind me filming this entire ordeal, right?
Yeah.
And so when I received the video, I was like, wow, I'm
Yeah.
fucked right now. I'm so fucked because I never dance, right? Because I can't dance for shit.
Yeah.
I was dancing like my life was fucking depending on it.
Yeah, and then you went again when Devilman no Uta started playing again.
Yeah,
as
and then
well.
when Devilman no Uta started playing, I was like, all right, tie is coming off. I'm popping off today.
Yeah, because I remember it went in waves because everyone went on the dance floor. And then everyone was like, let's get a drink. And then everyone immediately went to the bar. And it just kept coming in waves.
Yeah.
But I remember like the time when everyone started to pop off was when fucking September played. And that's when the video like me and Joey fucking hugging came about. But like I remember before that, I remember I like gave Connor the hug as well.
Yeah.
Like because it was like fucking September and everyone was so hyped. And that was like I think like the hyper song. I don't know why it was September.
Because I thought it was just like
It's a happy song.
a happy song, and also like every time we used to go to karaoke together, that song was always the most hypest song. So that's where I thought it was.
Yeah. But like I would say like so I think one of the best decisions I made with my wedding, if you are
Wedding planning advice. Right?
Yeah, if here's some wedding advice. If you're ever planning a future wedding or something. So like even though there was only 62 people at my wedding, which is a fairly small wedding in my eyes.
Smaller.
Smaller wedding. Like wedding FOMO is a fucking thing. Because I wanted to be with everyone at all times. I wanted to see what was fucking popping off, what people were talking about. I just wanted to see what was going on. Because there's only one of me, and because there's like only so many hours in this one fucking day, you can only be at one place at a time. And there's like I had so many regrets. Because we're also like really, really fucking busy with the photographers getting like our own wedding photos or something. Like probably my biggest regret of the wedding is that I didn't see everyone's reaction to the postcards and all the messages and stuff. Because we were like,
should have all filmed your reactions so I can react to it later.
So because we were outside taking wedding photography when you guys were in. So like, one of the best decisions I made is that we had like a GoPro there. Because of course we did. I learned from Trash Taste, right? I learned from Trash Taste.
Of course.
And I was just, I went to like everyone and I was just like, film whatever you want. Just film whatever you want. And like, I've seen the footage and I'm just like, it gives you like such an on the ground experience to what everyone was doing. And like we had videographers there. And so I'm very, very excited to see what they captured on their end. But I think it's just like, it was a totally different view when you just had people filming their own POVs on GoPros.
Right.
Because like you got to see like the progression. Everyone was like so well spoken, so happy at the beginning of the wedding. And then you go to like the end footage and it was like a guy fucking car. I'm so fucking happy for you. And yeah, it was like one of the best decisions I think regarding my wedding, because I got to see so much of my wedding that I wouldn't have got to see if I didn't have a GoPro there. So yeah,
Trash Taste special out of that.
Yeah, Trash Taste special.
No.
Unfortunately, you guys are never going to see that, but it does exist on my hard drive.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, like I said, fantastic day. You know, I know it's a cliche to say like, you know, your wedding's like the happiest day of your life, but it was for me.
Top three.
Yeah, like no one's that jaded where they're like, yeah, my wedding was alright. Like, you know, like of course.
No, I mean,
live it up.
Yeah, I mean, like because like before the wedding, I was just like, you know, maybe it'll be the happiest day of my life. You know, I didn't really think about it too much, but looking back, it was genuinely the happiest day of my life so far.
Absolutely.
And so, I'm glad you guys got to share that. You know,
Yeah, it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the best thing about having a wedding. To me, like we had a lot of mates there, and it was just having your mates around to experience like the happiest moment of your life is something that I cannot put into words. It's just it's so fucking special.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Joey wore trainers.
Oh yeah. We're gonna talk about that.
Joey got the Vessies on.
I do. Okay, so you know, because the wedding was not done in London. It was done just outside of London, right?
Yeah.
So we were in London, you know, for about a week. I was hanging out with a bunch of people, whatnot, and I had forgotten because originally I was supposed to get a suit from the suit rental place that Garnt had organized.
Yeah.
But because right now in the UK and just I guess everywhere in the world, it's like wedding craze right now because it's, you know, we're approaching the end of the pandemic. they were all booked up, right? So Garnt messaged me like a few days before I was about to fly out to UK, being like, hey, so sorry, but I wasn't able to get your suit rental.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to bring your own suit.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I only have a JoJo suit.
I mean, that's fine. That's not a
Which was okay.
Yeah,
So I
which
was
is
like,
fine.
whatever, I'll just get that dry clean, wear it, whatever. But then when I got to London and I was sorting out my luggage, I was like, shit, I forgot to bring my suit shoes.
Yeah.
Right? And so in the back of my head, I was like, well, I'm in London for like an entire week. I'll just like pop over to a shoe store, buy some nice shoes. Right?
Yeah.
I got a little bit ham in London. I was like drinking every day in London, right?
Yep,
Because
yep.
of course you do.
Yep.
Meeting up, catching up with a bunch of people. So the morning of the wedding, as I was taking my suit out, I realized I don't have suit shoes. And the only pair of shoes I had were the Vessies that I was wearing. So I rocked up to the wedding in full suit, tie pin, belt, everything.
Yeah.
And a pair of Vessies.
Yeah.
And everyone at the wedding was giving me shit. They were like, they
Rightfully so.
were literally doing the, what are those? Like, fully deserved, mind you. But you know what? At the end of the day, I won because when I got onto that fucking dance floor, dude, I was fully prepared. I was fully prepared with my
gripped,
everyone
yeah.
had taken their shoes off to dance. I was like, step aside. I got the footwear for it.
Yeah.
So that was don't do that. bring proper suit
one
shoes.
job, Joe.
I had one job to buy suit shoes and I did not fulfill it.
Making a statement there. Making a statement.
Exactly. I was making a statement. Yeah.
But I guess wedding aside, it was like I guess it was like a reasonable amount of time in the UK. I feel like you got to experience more of the UK this time as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
last time I was in the UK, which was the first time, was we were staying mostly at your place in Brighton.
Yeah.
So I think we were only in London for maybe like 2 days. And even then it was mostly just like going to all of the, touristy places and whatnot, right? So I think, this time around, not only did I get to have like a proper like view of London, but also like Chris took me out of London as well to like 'cause we went filming to a bunch of places and I actually got to see like the countryside of London. I got to see Stonehenge.
Oh, did you actually?
Yeah, we went to Stonehenge.
It's really disappointing, isn't it?
Yeah. It looks way cooler from a distance. Because you actually to get to Stonehenge, you have to like go to this visitor center, buy a ticket for some fucking reason.
Yeah.
And then you can either take a bus, which is like 5 minutes to Stonehenge, or you can walk across the fields for like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's kind of a nice day. Let's just like walk across the fields because it might be nice.
Yeah.
It was not nice because it was not only nothing for 30 minutes, but there was also just horse shit everywhere. So I'm like fucking dodging these like, these fucking this horse shit because God forbid these are the only pair of fucking shoes I have as well. So I don't want
your Vessies.
I was wearing the Vessies, right? So I'm like,
wonder why I smelled shit.
I was like, no, I have to wear these to the wedding. I'm not having horse shit on these, right? So we got to it, and then I guess because there was like an incident some years ago of like some drawing, shit on the Stonehenge,
As
like
British
stones,
people love
right?
to do, yeah.
Yeah. So they had actually like fenced it off.
Yeah.
But like they had fenced it off, not really like an arm's reach away, but like at least about 100 meters away.
Yeah.
So the closest you could get to Stonehenge was like 100 meters away, which was kind of like defeating the purpose, I guess. Like, because apparently you used to be able to like actually walk into Stonehenge, right? And like actually get like a close view of it. You can't do that anymore because I guess some people just ruined it for everyone. So, which, was like kind of underwhelming, I guess, in a sense. But like, I was like, well, Stonehenge is like that one heritage site that you hear people talking about and it's like a hot tourist place.
Weird.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, well, you know what? At least now I can say that I've seen Stonehenge, but like, was it fascinating necessarily? Not really.
I'd go to a Greg's any day over Stonehenge.
I mean, we did afterwards.
Yeah, that's good, right?
We went to a Greg's afterwards. But like, I think the most enjoyment I had like on that trip out of London was the fact that like I just actually got to see like the real side of the UK, like the actual like countryside. Like we went past like all these like really small like quaint little villages that like there were some villages that we drove past that legitimately looked like RPGs. It was like an RPG, like medieval town, which was like so fucking
That's
cool.
most of the UK.
Right, but like I had never seen that before,
Yeah,
right?
true,
Because
true.
my experience of the UK is London and Brighton, right?
Yeah.
Which is very much not like that.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to actually like stop by in like these really small, quaint villages to be like, oh, we got like the full experience of the UK. One of the best, one of the best fucking stories was we stopped by. I was like dying for a piss,
Right.
and so I was like, we have to stop by somewhere. Right. So,
Yeah.
but like we're in the middle of nowhere, right? So we're like, oh, okay. I guess we'll just like stop by the closest village to see if there's like an establishment
Right.
we can borrow. So we stopped by this village. I don't even remember the name of this village. It's fucking tiny. And we got to the entrance of the village, and there's like this old dude standing there, and he
Right.
like kind of flags us down, like, hey.
Yeah.
And so Chris is like, all right, this what's happening? And we drive up to him, and he's like, yeah, what's the problem? And the guy goes, are you here to see the duck race? And we're like, what? It's like, oh, there's a duck race happening, so make sure to drive nice and slowly across this road, okay? And we're like, a duck race.
Duck race.
And sure enough, we drive maybe about 50 meters, and there's just this gathering of about 10 to 20 like old people just watching these ducks.
That sounds awesome.
And I'm like, this is the most British thing I've ever seen in my fucking life.
What else are you going to do with your free time?
Yeah. And I was like, I want to be there.
Yeah.
At that age, I want to just like wake up in the morning and be like, oh, the duck race is today, and just go down to my local pond and just watch some ducks. It was fucking awesome.
Yeah. Because like I remember like because like we went to a pub the day before a wedding, and it was like this very very quaint local pub in this very very small town, because this like where the wedding took place, it was in a town that was like, you know, you could walk from one end to the other in about like 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was
I feel,
tiny.
right? It was a fucking tiny, so it was like a local pub, and like I remember there was just this poster on the wall that just said, "This is the place for the worldwide annual pea tossing tournament," or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh no, it was the pea flicking tournament, right?
Well, I think it's the way that the streets had kind of, the way like the natural landscape was. Is that the idea was that you threw the pea, because I Googled it, so I was curious. You throw the pea. I mean, this is going to tell them where your wedding is, by the way. It's only in this place.
I mean, I'm not gonna. I already have one wedding.
True. So the way that this kind of town is really cool architecture. It's like kind of like there's a village at the top, and then it kind of winds down towards the bottom. So the idea of this pea throwing thing, apparently according to Google, is that the idea is that you throw it, and hopefully if you throw it well enough or kind of just lucky, it'll kind of bounce around the walls and kind of go all the way down.
Oh,
and
wow.
then people will like follow it and see where like the furthest it goes. Which I think that sounds pretty fucking fun.
That sounds fucking fun.
It's also extremely British.
That's really British, but that's fun. I like that.
This video is sponsored by Bookwalker. Guys, are you craving some good manga to get you through the summer heat?
Yeah, I am.
Well, thankfully, Bookwalker has got you covered.
As one of the most popular ebook stores for English manga and light novels out there, this summer they are holding an irresistible promotion where you can get manga, wait for it,
for free! For a limited time of 4 weeks, Bookwalker now has the first volume of a different set of manga titles available on rotation for free every week.
Garnt, tell the lovely audience what's on this week.
This week, they have some banger titles, such as Rent a Girlfriend, That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, but also, to celebrate the beginning of the new anime season, they have the source material to the brand new anime series called The Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting, which is airing right now.
The first volume of these 3 titles will be available for free until July 14th PT, but if these aren't your gem, don't fret, there are plenty more coming up in the next few weeks, as you can see on screen right now.
So go check out the details of this promotion on their special landing page linked in the description below, and add some new favorites to your manga collection before this promotion ends on July the 28th PT. Thank you again to Bookwalker. Back to the episode.
So you met my parents for the first time.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
And Connor came around to my house a few days before the wedding. We had like a nice meal together. And Connor met my parents for the first time.
I got out of the car and I was wearing a hat, and I met your dad, and I was like, oh, hi. And he's like, oh, hi. And I go inside, And then your mum sees me. She's like, "Oh my god, it's Connor!" She was like, "I watch you all the time." And I was like, "Oh yeah, hell yeah." She was just like really sweet, and she gave me a hug, and she was just like, "Oh my god, I always watch you on the TV. It's so nice, it's you."
Oh, that's so wholesome.
It was really wholesome.
Yeah.
And then she like whipped up like the best food I'd ever had. It
Yeah.
was just amazing. It was really good food.
Yeah, but there was this one moment. Well, I can't remember if it was when she first met you or when you were having food or something.
Yeah.
But I remember she was like talking to you, and then she's like never really mentioned to me about like any of our content aside from like what we've talked about and everything like that.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
So she's like never mentioned this to me before, but like I remember she turns to Connor and she's like, "You should have won the cycling special," and I'm like, "What the fuck, mom?"
Everyone knows that. Everyone
what
knows
the fuck?
this.
I was like, I got betrayed by my own fucking family. I was.
It was true. I was so happy in that
And I
moment.
was like, she's never ever mentioned the cycling special to me before at all. Aside from like, "Oh, it looks like a really beautiful place you guys went to." But no, like I was like fucking.
Glad to know where your mum's
Your
loyalties lie.
mum is literally the embodiment of the subreddit.
I got fucking betrayed, man, by my own blood.
And then I think your dad then realized who I was.
Yeah.
Because he'd said hi to me, but he like didn't. And then I think when your mum had said that, he was like, he's that guy. And I was like, it's Connor, hi. And I was like, "Oh, okay, hi. All right, okay." It was really nice. It was very sweet.
That's so
Yeah.
cute.
But yeah, how was your experience back in England? Because
Yeah, it was good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like you know how it is. It's like
Yeah,
going back.
back
It's
in
just
England.
like, "Hey, I'm back. Let's
Yeah.
drink. Let's do it."
yeah.
It was weird seeing some things had changed, kind of a little bit. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. It was interesting this time because it was very like full on this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like every single day there was something happening.
Yeah, there
but that was
definitely
good. I like that because I kind of hate it when I'm like kind of like not doing anything and I'm like just wandering around. Like,
Yeah.
what am I gonna do today? What am I
Yeah.
gonna eat? Because what am I gonna eat is so important.
Yeah, like I was actually like really much happier with like the food that I had there. Like,
Yeah, it was so fucking good.
yeah, I don't know if like the food quality just improved or we just went to like better restaurants. I don't know. It felt like there were more food options in my trip back to England this time.
Right.
I mean, just go to Borough Market in London. Best fucking food in London,
Yeah,
I swear.
yeah.
Oh, dude,
Every
so
restaurant
sick.
there goes unequivocally hard.
Yeah.
It's so
Yeah,
fucking
I
good.
spent like an afternoon in the borough markets with a friend of mine from high school, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was so cool, dude. The cheese there,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Die
it's good
for.
shit, dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Didn't
exactly.
IRL stream in London as well?
Oh, you did it during fucking Jubilee weekend as
Yeah.
well. Oh my,
Yeah.
that looked like hell, man.
Yeah, I was filming with Chris at Westminster Bridge, and it was just like you couldn't move.
Yeah.
like it was
Yeah.
so busy because everyone was waiting because it wasn't. The only thing that was happening that day was the jets and stuff were flying over.
Yeah.
Which was kind of cool. Like the jets flew over in the formation of 70.
Right.
Like a stupid amount of jets. I'm like,
Right,
is this
right.
where our military power is? Okay, never mind. And then they did the fucking red, white, and blue. Not America, UK. All that fucking came over. It was just crazy. It was just so busy. Could not get phone signal anywhere because it was just so many people were there.
Yeah.
It was really cool. I got a view through like a shitty bridge because we were stopping to try and set up my IRL bag.
Yeah.
We could not get signal anywhere to start the stream. But yeah, because like there was just so many people.
Right.
It was cool. It was
Yeah.
like one of those things where like I was accidentally in like the right place at the right time to see this thing happen.
Yeah.
And so I finally managed to find a spot like 3 or 4 miles away from where we originally were going to start the
Yeah,
stream. Where it was like, okay, the signal is kind of okay.
Yeah.
Let's just fucking start it.
Yeah.
And my laptop is in my hotel room connected to the internet. And I press go live and it's like 1 kilobyte and 1 megabyte, sorry. And for Twitch, you need about 6.
Yeah.
It can work on 3 to 4, but it's sketch.
Yeah.
And I had 1 and I was
Yeah.
like, fuck. And we'd already started. We'd already
Yeah.
spent like an hour prepping and I was like, fuck. And then I see, and you know that funny thing where when your PC is connected to Wi-Fi and internet,
Yeah.
for some reason it'll be like, it was connected to Wi-Fi and Ethernet.
Yeah,
Sometimes like, let's choose the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
I like the Wi-Fi. It's kind of sick. Like it's just wireless, and it's like no. Use the fucking. Why would you use the slower one when you could connect it to the fast one? I'm sure there's some fucking engineer in the comments who'll be like, oh, actually, it's because of the Wi-Fi. And I'll be like, I don't fucking care.
Engineer here.
To me, it just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So I'm on remote access with my fucking phone. I'm like trying to like zoom in, click the Wi-Fi thing, turn off the Wi-Fi, and then suddenly it's all working perfectly.
Yeah.
We go live and we fuck around in London. It was great. It was really fun. You know, Chris is probably the happiest I've ever seen him in the UK.
Bro, Chris seemed like he was in his
Bro,
element,
he was
man.
in like cloud nine.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm so glad to be back. I just want to go to a pub. I want to have fish and chips, mashed pies. I don't fucking know.
My man was like cleaning up English breakfast like there were nothing.
I think he was doing like the English breakfast tour of the UK.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try it here. I'm gonna try it here. I'm gonna try it here. The man was unstoppable. It was a great time though.
It was so interesting just seeing the dichotomy of like Chris doing an IRL stream with you in Japan versus in the UK.
Yeah.
In Japan, he's just like, just don't talk too loud. I don't want to be a dickhead.
Yeah, I feel like in Japan, I have to be the one who's like, yo, we're going to do this. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
And in the UK, who's like, let's fucking go here. Let's do this. Get out of the way, poor people. It was just so fun. Like, it was great. It was great.
I'm sad I didn't get to hang out with Chris before because I was like stacked every day before the wedding.
Of course.
Obviously, I mean, you have so much shit to do.
Yeah.
And then you had to like, entourage the American family and show them around and make sure they weren't in trouble.
Yeah. I mean, it was a very, very interesting experience showing them around. Because like the first night, they just flown in, and so they didn't want to go too far, but we went to like my local pub, which is literally like down the road, right?
Okay.
But it's like it's like not in like central Brighton. It's like we're like on the outskirts of Brighton, whatever. Right. So it's not somewhere you see like a lot of like touristy people go, right? Because Brighton's like a pretty famous touristy place. And then I remember we go there and we sit down, we're having a pint, and obviously they're American and they got like the true British experience, right?
Right.
It was a local pub and we had local people there, and some younger people recognized their accents. And
Oh my god.
Were they like roadmen or something?
yeah, roadmen. And I'd never seen like there's always like the image of how Americans think British people speak, and like for the first time, Sydney's family got like the true British experience. Right. They got true local Brits, and I remember they were having like there was this one kid having a conversation with Sydney's brother, and of course he was talking about his fucking rap career that was going to take off in America because he had listeners from New York, and he had like a Spotify account, and I could see Sydney's brother's face just like, I know you're speaking English, but I have no idea what the fuck you are saying. It was literally like a scene out of The In-Betweeners, right?
Oh, dude, like Meilyne's husband, Marky, had the exact same experience when I like took him to a friend's house.
Yeah.
And like because my friends in London, they're not originally from London. They're from like further up north, right?
Yeah.
So they have the more northerner accent. And one of my friends, Yusuf, he has like a really strong Leeds accent, right?
Yeah.
Which is like hard even for me to understand sometimes. So it was just fucking hilarious every time Yusuf like opened his mouth and just said something.
Yeah.
Just Marky would just like squint like this, like he's like really trying to fucking concentrate.
Subtitles on.
He's like, this is definitely English. I think. I don't know. And every time Yusuf would stop talking, I would turn to Marky in Japanese. I'd be like, did you understand that? And he was like, no. And then he got really sad. And he was like, I thought I was good at English, but I guess I'm not. And I'm like, don't worry, Marky. It's fine. This is like even I have trouble with this English.
Yeah.
That should be on like the TOEIC exam. It should be like, can you understand a man from Leeds? So like, if you can, you're fluent, man.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're good to go.
Yeah.
It's funny because like if the more northern you go, the harder time it gets for like anyone outside of the UK to understand what the fuck is being said.
Exactly.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
even for me as like a southerner, I can barely understand what's being said in like Liverpool sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it's OP being from the north. It's like, you just understand everyone.
Yeah.
It's great. I'm like, super chill. It's all good.
Lucky.
The only time I struggle is like, I think there's a really, I felt ashamed at this one point. I think there's a clip of a really, really rural Irish pub and then they interview this
Is that the guy with like the 3 teeth?
I think so, and he just fucking says shit, and I'm like, and I was like, and even at that point, I'm like, I only understood like 3 words.
It's like the guy from Kalani or something.
It might be
something,
but
like
that was the only time where I'm like, yeah, I don't even know if the other people in the pub understood him. Like I don't know if I'm the weird one.
But the interviewer understood him because he's from that part of
that's
the UK.
right.
Yeah. So he was like, the guy would just be like, and he'd be like, yes, I like this pub too. And it's like, you conversing with this guy? What the fuck?
Yeah, I wish I understood that. That was the only time I felt like inadequate. I was like, fuck, I thought I understood everything. Everything. Fuck.
Yeah, I know the exact video you're talking about as well. Because like I felt disappointed as well. Because I'm sure I can understand this. I'm sure I can understand this. And then I don't know. You just start you like start playing it at like 0.5 speed. And you're like, maybe I can like gauge the syllables.
The closed captions just say fucking I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the fuck. They're like,
I don't even think the closed caption can determine if it's English or not.
I wish it was like a TV ad one, so they have to have that like woman who like does the I forgot what it's sign language.
The sign language.
Just try and do the sign like.
She's just like,
I don't know. I give up, dude. I don't give a fuck.
Do they have like strong accents in Wales? Like to the point where
maybe nothing you wouldn't be able to understand. Just a very like, oh, I'm from this village, you know. We talk like
is there like differing like geographical differences in Wales, like the UK, or is it kind of just like stronger or weaker?
Generally, like the more west you go, I had to fucking do that thing in my head. It gets a little stronger. The south has a different accent, but it's not like completely. I wouldn't say it's that different, but they also have different words.
Yeah.
So I feel like the difference is not so much in the dialect, more so in well, not the dialect is a different word. The accent isn't as different, just the words.
Yeah.
Right.
So the accent sounds very similar with both, but you get the more traditional Welsh accent that you might hear in movies and stuff is from the south.
Yeah.
So it's
The
more of
north
a
isn't as much.
So it's more of a dialect difference than a pronunciation.
Yeah,
difference.
the dialect's pretty similar.
I mean, so it's basically like Japan
pronunciation.
then.
Fuck. Yeah. Fuck. You fucking up. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Japan.
Yeah. I mean, it's because there's like the fucking history is so different between the north and the south. Because the south was like conquered by England for a really long time, and then the north wasn't. So it's way more Welsh up north, and then it's you fucking know. You just watch Vinland Saga. Just fucking just like they lightly touch it a little bit.
I'm jealous because Australia doesn't have that at all, and I always thought it was really cool because like America and like the UK, it's like you can immediately tell where someone is from.
Yeah.
But in Australia, we don't have that at all.
Yeah, I really love the history of it, but like no one gives a fuck, so it's really boring to talk about it. And I don't want to talk about it if people are like they're like fucking resident sleeper. They're like, it's like but Vinland Saga is pretty good.
I think it's super fucking. I think it's super fucking fascinating.
Doesn't really cover it. It's cool that it at least touches upon it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a fucking mess. It's really cool though.
At least you got an anime surrounding around it, right?
And you got one of the most.
It's about England, but at least we had Askeladd. That's all that matters.
You got one of the most badass characters in all of anime, man.
The most representation we got is fucking 5 minutes in a Hetalia episode.
You got Rin from Free.
Oh wow,
bro, he's Australian pride.
Literally the worst character.
Bro, he fucking tears it up in the water.
To be fair, when I did watch the Free movie and I saw Sydney Station, I was like, yo,
fuck yes, let's go.
Let's go.
I think the most representation I've had is just like one guy from Yuri on Ice, and that's it.
What about the K-On movie? That was set in the UK, right?
No, I'm talking about Thailand.
Oh, Thailand.
Yeah. Like we had one Thai ice skater in Yuri on Ice, and I remember when I went to like there's like a big anime chain in Japan called like Animate. Yeah. So we have an Animate in Bangkok, and like they had like there was just like this one cardboard cutout of that one Thai ice skater from Yuri on Ice, and it's just like, we did it, boys.
Let's
Representation in anime. Let's
go. To be fair, I guess it's kind of lucky. One of the most badass anime characters is Welsh. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He's definitely up there, and not because he's Welsh, but that might have bumped him up a few spots.
We just got like racially profiled by Hetalia character. That wasn't even accurate. And then he was in one episode and he never came back.
You got a Hetalia character. Wales didn't even get one.
Yeah, every other country got it.
Yeah,
except Wales apparently.
Yeah, Wales didn't get it. They were like, what do they fucking do in Wales? This is it. Again, I've said this a billion times. Wales is a branding problem. We need a brand. The person in charge of Welsh branding, I don't know who it is, Prime Minister, I don't know, needs to fucking sort this out. We need to have a game plan of how we're going to brand.
What's there in Wales?
See, that's the thing. What am I going to tell you? Like, Oh, do you like history? Great. Well, there's loads. But if not, like, go and eat some fucking sheep. That's great. Like, if you like lamb, it's amazing. We also have some pretty good baked stuff. Like, we have a lot of Welsh cakes. That's kind of good. But I mean, that's
yeah, because like to me, like
nature's really good.
I've been to like Ireland, and I'm like, I fucking love Ireland. Like, it's like one of the most aesthetic places I've ever been to. Like, outside of Japan.
Felix went to Wales. He loved it. He went to Aberystwyth. No, I think it was one of Abergavenny. Really cool looking place. It was inspired by like Mediterranean things. Weirdly, in like the west of Wales. It's a really cool area.
He sold me on Wales.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool areas. It's just like you can't just rock up.
Yeah,
like if you just rock up without researching where to go, you're gonna be like, where the fuck is everything?
What is there to do?
Like where am I? If you know what you're going for, there's some amazing hiking spots, really beautiful nature parks. Like a lot of the North Brecon Beacons area is all like nature reserves. Like nothing's built there. It's just go hike, having a great time.
Brecon Beacons is really good.
Yeah. Snowdonia.
That sounds like a place from like Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's like a Pokemon.
I mean, Chris has been up it. Yeah, it's good. There's a bunch of cool seaside stuff that you can go to, but like it depends. You really have to research.
Because like when you hear about people visiting the UK, obviously there is like England,
Ireland, Scotland.
And people are like, oh, I fucking love going to Ireland because like every fucking fifth person here in America is apparently like like half Irish or some shit, right? But then you also hear people talking about like Scotland as well.
I think it really helps for the UK countries. Like, okay, you have London, and then you can branch out. You have Scotland, then you can branch out. You got Dublin, then you can branch out. It's like you have Cardiff. Even then, Cardiff is really far from all the nature stuff. Like, it's kind of weird in Wales, where if you want to kind of travel via public transport up north, you have to go around and back up. You can't just go through the middle. Right. So if you go that,
because like a lot of mountains
there's a lot of mountains, and it didn't make sense to build the trains there because it kind of connects through England and then goes back in. So it goes to like Shrewsbury and stuff. So if you go really far west, and it's just going off on one, it's kind of really annoying to get back up. So if you're going westward, you plan your whole trip to go west, and then you go back. It's kind of annoying to go back up. Like you can if you want to go to like Aberystwyth, but Aberystwyth's down south. Am I saying no? That's Abertawe. There's so many fun. It's all weird. It's a really cool place. If you plan your trip, it'll be cool.
I still really want
to go. Town. There's some amazing stuff.
Yeah, you got to show us around because like I've never had like a guide for Wales. Basically,
you have to bear in mind my experience of Wales was when I was like young and a kid. So when people are like, show me Wales, I'm like, show you.
Yeah, but I'm going to be like that for Australia.
Yeah, I guess so.
Like my view of Sydney is going to be very different to the average tourism.
Yeah, I think because all my tourism was done in the confines of like school trips and stuff. So it's like very like warped as to like what I actually would think would be fun. My parents know them. My parents love doing it. They hike. They're doing this thing where they go all around Wales like by walking.
Right.
Damn.
Not in one go. It's like in trips.
Right.
So they do a section and then they go back and then they do another section and they go back.
That's cool.
That's fucking insane.
My parents love walking and exercising. I wish that rubbed off on me.
It's like, where's the car?
I have like the bare minimum of wanting to walk and stuff. But if you're interested in like really convoluted and complex history, you might want to look into it. It's kind of cool. It's just about people trying to not be taken over by the English for like 400 years.
More and then they failed. More history than what we've got, dude.
Yeah, that's true.
That's pretty much every country in the UK, right?
Hey, I think they did a pretty good job. Look at the rest of the world. They didn't last very long against England. I think we did pretty good. Oh, we had a pretty good run. It's a pretty good run.
That's true.
But I mean, it's cool. There's some really funny history moments of. I think have I ever told that? I've told that story before about the castle that got took over.
Yeah.
And then I fucking love that story.
Yeah.
It's so fucking funny.
See, I wish we had like fun stories like that.
Yeah.
Like we didn't have any of that shit.
Yeah.
We're just like, a bunch of convicts was just like, fuck you, UK, and then we just start our own country and just a whole lot of racism and politics happen.
Yeah.
It's like cool.
It's because when Sydney's family were visiting, like you take for granted just how much history the UK has.
Oh, yeah,
because you could show like I was showing them just like even just like seeing like buildings, and, like pubs that were just like really old. That's like that was like fascinating.
Yeah.
Many churches in the UK have been around since over 1,400 years.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of churches that are still like built in 800. Like this is just insane. That they're still there. It's
crazy.
And it's like we take for granted just having like a country with like history in it. Whereas like I think if you're like over 25 or something in America, then you've like been alive for like a tenth of the entire country's history. Right? Your entire country's age, and that's like that just fucking blows my mind, that there's a country that is that young.
But then you run into the issue of like, okay, I want to learn about UK history. Where do I start? And then you go with the highlights. But then when you start digging into stuff, you're like, this is really fucking convoluted. Right. This is really okay. So they took over, and then another guy took over, and then another guy took over, and then England got taken over by Vikings, and then now it's the French.
Yeah,
and
but it's convoluted, but it's super fucking fascinating if you're into that shit, right?
But that's what makes it even cooler that all, like some of these churches and stuff have lasted, like being taken over like 10 different times.
Yeah.
Right.
Like it's like, how the fuck did this not happen?
It's the exact same thing with like Japanese history as well.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so fascinating for history like fanatics, right? But it's like, Australia's not even 250 years old.
Yeah.
We founded 1777, I think, 78.
Yeah.
Which is like fucking like the UK had like already figured this shit out by then. We were just like, oh, what the fuck do we do?
But isn't it like a lot of a lot of countries that we know today and we're like super used to, like are very new.
Yeah. I think Finland is only like 100 years old.
Yeah. I mean, Germany.
Yeah.
Germany, like to think that Germany like was like a completely different fucking thing. That's so weird. Like because we've been alive our whole life. I mean, our whole life has been like an Angela Merkel. Like it's so weird when you're like these countries are not like they weren't a thing.
Yeah.
I don't think Germany want to talk about their history.
Yeah, they don't. I mean, actually, they do talk about it a lot. They're like, be ashamed. I don't know how we got onto countries or whatever the fuck, but I mean, I love talking about history and countries. I'm obsessed with history. I love it so much. And but there's just too much to learn. That's
too much.
I gotta pick an era, you know. Like I get so jealous when I meet people who are like, dude, I fucking love the Byzantine era, and I'm like, fuck, dude, that's just like.
I heard of that from Age of Empires.
It's like I feel like I'm a history buff, but then someone talks to me about like ancient Rome and Egypt, and I'm like, fuck, I wish that was the stuff I was really interested in, but I just love like the past 1,000 years history. Even then, that's pushing it.
I'm like the opposite. I love like the ancient stuff, you know.
Like, but then you feel like, is your history more better? That's not a word. Is your history more significant?
More better.
It's like, is it more significant because it's like the Romans? Dude. It's like, oh, okay, dude, that's kind of fucking sick.
Yeah, you can't go up against that.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's
that's been this episode of Trash Taste, I guess.
Hey, look at all
Welcome
these
to the America arc.
Yeah, America arc. Let's go.
Let's welcome all the patrons as per usual. Welcome to America, guys.
Yeah, welcome to
Give
America.
me a lot of
How many of them are American?
So like the UK arc didn't actually last that long. We filmed 3 episodes, but literally like we went to the UK for a wedding.
Yeah.
And we somehow got 3 episodes out of that, which was like pretty impressive.
It's probably going to be like 8+ for this.
We're going to have a lot more for the America arc.
You're gonna see this set for a while, so get used to it.
And we're going to have a lot of guests as well. So,
very exciting guests coming soon.
So look forward to that. Unfortunately, if you're one of the viewers that like hearing us shoot shit, we're gonna go back to that. Don't worry. Don't worry. I mean, you just heard us shoot shit now, you know. But we have a rare opportunity where we can get a lot of guests in a very, very short amount of time, and we wanted to take advantage of that rather than just waiting for people to come to fucking Japan, which we've been waiting for 2 years.
God knows when that's gonna happen.
Yeah. So,
but hey, if you'd like to support the show, go over to our Patreon, patreon.com/trashtaste. Also follow us on Twitter, send us your memes on the subreddit, and if you hate our face, listen to us on Spotify. And we will see you for more LA goodness.
I'm sure by the end of this, we're gonna have so many America stories. So many.
Look forward to those. All right, bye.